Blood dragon ancestor! Blood dragon ancestor! The azure dragon was stunned. When the seal appeared in Frozen End City, he had felt that this seal was very familiar. When he saw the seal eye, he felt a familiar feeling. Now he knew why. It was precisely because of the seal in front of him. Yuan Long have been here before. Boss must have been here before. The azure dragon ancestor said with incomparable certainty. Looking at the aura within the seal, he could sense that this aura was extremely familiar. It was the aura of his brother, the blood dragon. He is also one of the fighting generals of a Yuan Long. Naturally, Long Fei could not hear what he said, and Yin Huang ancestor was the same. The azure dragon had said that. Long Fei had to walk his own path. His own strength needed to be awakened by himself. Step by step, bit by bit, there was no other way. Nor could he provide a shortcut, because there were no shortcuts in this world. There was only constant hard work. Long Fei looked at the gigantic seal and muttered, "It's another seal. How do I break this seal? This seal is several times higher than the one with the frozen seal. If you want to break this seal..." I was wondering why there are so many strange seal-s in the Tianwu continent despite the fact that the Tianwu continent's plane being not high. Yin Huang ancestor shouted in anger. In the Sky Martial continent, compared to the Chaos realm, its plane of existence was very low. Take the seal in front of his eyes, for example. He had never seen such a complicated seal before. He had no idea. Long Fei said, "Ancestor, how is the power of the seal broken through? Theoretically speaking, how is it broken through?" Yin Huang ancestor said, "Last time when we fought Lei Mo, he said one sentence. Any formation in the world, as long as you have enough strength, you can shatter it. This is the case for formations and also for seal. As long as you have absolute strength, you can crush seal." Long Fei said, "Do you think I have that much power?" Yin Huang ancestor, "All right, I could just find the seal's eye and shatter it." The Yin Huang ancestor said, "I will first go and sense where the seal formation aperture is located." The idea moved and rushed in. Buzz. Just as the idea entered the ancient seal, his sea of consciousness suddenly exploded and he cried out in pain, "It's too strong. The power in the seal is too strong." The moment his idea entered, it was strangled, and this force even followed along his idea's crazy counterattack. If not for the fact that he retreated quickly, the Yin Huang ancestor would have definitely suffered heavy injuries. "No, kid, this seal's level is too high. It's not something you can break through with your current ability." Yin Huang ancestor heaved a sigh of relief. Long Fei said, "Then what do we do? If I can't break this seal, I can't get out." "No way." Long Fei's eyes became firm, and he said, "No matter what, I have to break out of this seal. He's going to suppress us with his overwhelming strength, isn't he?" "All right." Long Fei's heart sank. "Unparalleled at level 5. Open for me." Boom! A huge boom resounded within his body. Wu Shuang had leveled up to level 5, which meant that she had 32 times the attribute power. His body was filled with power. "Power of the metal dragon, open!" Long Fei shouted. The 8 dragons were enraged. The defensive power of the golden dragon was completely transformed into offensive power. At this moment, Long Fei held onto the dragon's salure tightly, stared at the gigantic seal array, and said softly, "I still won't believe that I can't break your seal." Bam! He jumped on the spot. He leapt into the air, both hands holding onto his saber. He chopped down with his axe. Dragon slash. Shwa! The sky split open and an incomparably thick energy slashed down, slashing onto the seal's array formation. Wong! A white light flashed within the seal formation, forming a strong halo of light. The powerful energy within the halo of light was immediately repelled back. Long Fei's power had just landed and was sent flying a few hundred meters away. Bang, bang, bang. His mind and consciousness seemed to be rolling on the ground. It was extremely hard to bear. F***CK. Long Fei scolded angrily. "I don't believe it." He moved his feet and quickly rushed out, chopping down from another corner. Just like before, he was once again sent flying. Again, Bam! Again. Your father has gone crazy. I'm afraid of myself, but I don't believe that I can't break your seal formation. Long Fei became berserk like a demon that was sealed, and every time he was sent flying, he crazily charged forward. Yin Huang ancestor said, "Brat, you can't do this." Long Fei acted as if he did not hear it. He kept charging forward. In a short 10 minutes, he had charged 100 times. At this moment, he couldn't even stand properly, and his face was a bit pale. His entire body was covered in blood, and he fell down heavily again and again. It was very uncomfortable. Shua! Long Fei took another step forward, landing in the air above the array, panting heavily as he said, "You still haven't broken through, right? If you don't break it, then continue to slash." As he spoke, a drop of blood dripped from his body. Drip! A clear and crisp sound came out as the blood droplet fell into the seal array, causing it to be absorbed. Long Fei did not notice all of this and fiercely slashed down. This time, he was not sent flying. The dragon salyer in his hand heavily slashed at the formation, and at this moment, the formation crumbled as fresh blood gushed out of the cracks like a fountain. Long Fei's eyes turned cold. "What is this?" Yin Huang ancestor said. In an instant, all the power of the seal disappeared. Long Fei quickly flicked his finger and landed outside of the array. He looked at the blood that was continuously gushing out of the array as it increased in number. Within a few seconds, the array was filled with blood and it was rolling continuously. The Azure Dragon became excited. "It really is the Blood Dragon! Haha, it really is him. Then Boss must have been here before. I wonder who's feeling that familiar feeling in the array. Is it sister-in-law?" The Azure Dragon ancestor muttered to himself. And then, he did not think too much, because Long Fei would definitely meet him in the future. Right now, what he needed to do was to find the secrets of the Dragon Domain, the Open Dragon Domain, and obtain the strongest power in the Dragon Realm. Then everything would be clear. Boom! A loud sound rang out from within the seal's array as a colossal monster moved beneath the tumbling blood. Long Fei muttered, "Could it be that another boss is hidden below?" The dragon salyer in his hands tightened its grip even more. A spirit burst pill entered his body and quickly recovered its power of celestial value. Suddenly, walala, blood gushed into the sky as a huge, blood-red creature suddenly charged out. At this moment, all the auras in the surroundings were firmly suppressed by the giant creature. Dragon, sister-in-law 1-/ plus health, strongest upgrade system Blood Dragon. Long Fei's eyes became dazed, and he muttered in his heart, "Fuck." It was also at this time. The Blood Dragon suddenly said, "Boss." First, 8_8419/2357036. "Boss! Boss!" Suddenly, a sound was heard. Long Fei was stunned. The Blood Dragon's eyes were burning with excitement, so much so that tears rolled down its cheeks. No one could understand its emotions. He had waited for who knows how many years. He had always hoped, always waited, that one day his boss would come here and take him away. He had been protecting this place for a very long time. However, after all these years, the boss had not come, and no one from the dragon race had come either. He was stuck in the seal array and couldn't leave, so he could only wait. He was so excited that he wanted to die. Just a moment ago, someone was trying to break the formation, and he was feeling extremely displeased. He was the guardian of this place, and when the boss told him that the seal was here, he told everyone to not let him out, unless it was him. Only the Yuan Long could unlock this seal. Just as he was trying his best to resist, a drop of blood essence fell. This drop of blood essence could dissolve all the seal. This was the blood essence of Yuan Long. This was the power of Yuan Long. The seal array disappeared, and the blood dragon rushed out. When he saw Long Fei, he was startled for a moment, but then he did not hesitate, not even by a little bit. He bowed and saluted. No matter how the Yuan Long changed, his blood essence would never change. So the Blood Dragon believed that Long Fei was the Yuan Long, the Dragon Clan's leader. "Boss, you're finally here." The blood dragon said with incomparable excitement. Long Fei was a little dazed. Looking at such a huge blood dragon, he asked softly, "You're also from the dragon race?" "He's with the Azure Dragon?" He had never seen the Azure Dragon before, and the Gold Dragon was only seeing the illusion as well. It was the same for the Black Dragon, who had always been amongst the dragon salure. In his entire life, besides ice and fire, he had never seen a true dragon, one that belonged to the Chinese dragon god. However, the blood dragon in front of him was a Chinese dragon. It wasn't an illusion, but a real dragon. The bloody scales flickered with a bloody light. Long Fei could be considered to be experienced and knowledgeable. He knew of all kinds of giant demons and underworld king Yama, but compared to this dragon, those were just child's play. This blood dragon was too powerful. The blood dragon's eyes shook as it excitedly asked, "Is Big Brother Green Dragon here as well?" "Ruh," Long Fei muttered. They are indeed in the same group. At this moment, the Azure Dragon's voice resounded in the blood dragon's mind. "Big Brother Azure Dragon." And then, his expression darkened again as he looked curiously at Long Fei. Then, he became excited and depressed again. In the end, he was still extremely excited. Long Fei shouted in his heart, "Azure Dragon Ancestor, are you King telling him that he can't say anything? Damn it. What secrets is the dragon domain hiding? Tell me now that I will die. I'm so unhappy." The secrets of the dragon domain were like 100 claws scratching at the heart, making his heart itch. However, he didn't know. He really wanted to know the secrets of the dragon domain, really wanted to know the relationship between the dragon clan and Long family. The Azure Dragon Ancestor didn't reply. The blood dragon excitedly said, "Boss, Big Brother Azure Dragon said that as long as you can find the dragon domain and awaken the power within your body, he will tell you everything." F***CK. Long Fei raised his middle finger to express his disdain. And then, the blood dragon said, "Boss, you still don't have a mount, right? I'll be your mount." Long Fei said, "Since you called me boss, and you are also one of my former generals, it will be difficult for you to mount me on the surface. How could a brother be a mount? However, if this guy was to become a mount, then they definitely had to be envious of everyone. Moreover, the dragon race had once suppressed Sky's separating clan, so the appearance of the blood dragon should be able to squash Sky separating clan's feces, right?" The blood dragon replied, "It doesn't matter. With me as my mount, you can go wherever you want. I can't do anything else but speed." Ding! System notification. The blood dragon has taken the initiative to request to be your mount. Do you accept? The system sounded out. Long Fei thought for a moment, then said, "Okay, then you can temporarily become my mount and remove it later." The blood dragon became excited. "As you command." Anyone of the dragon race would be willing to be the mount of a Yuan Long, not to mention him. It was because it was a supreme honor, and the blood dragon was naturally happy. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining a new mount blood dragon ancestor. You have received 100 experience points, 100 power of celestial, and 100 special reward points. Ding! System notification, blood dragon returned. The system rang out twice in a row. The blood dragon's enormous body moved, directly charging into Long Fei's war pet space, and said, "Boss, your idea can summon me." Long Fei said, "Understood." Inside war pet space, the blood dragon lay coiled there, incomparably sinister. Long Fei muttered and thought, "I wonder what Binghu would think. Would she say that I abandoned her? I'm not a man to be abandoned." It was truly impossible for Long Fei to reject such a temptation. At this time, Long Fei moved and quietly asked, "Blood Dragon Ancestor, tell me, wherever I want to go, and you can bring me there?" Blood Dragon Ancestor replied, "Yes." The corner of Long Fei's mouth hooked up as he said excitedly, "Then if I want to go to the dragon region, can you bring me there?" The Blood Dragon Ancestor was stunned for a moment, then said naively, "Boss, only you know of this place. I also don't know where the dragon domain is." Big Brother Azure Dragon said that you are the only one who can look for it. No one else will be able to. "Boss, you have to know that our dragon race is waiting for your awakening. When you find the dragon domain and awaken the power within your body, then our dragon race can only awaken. You bear the burden of the fate of the entire dragon clan. The blood dragon ancestor spoke a bit more than the azure dragon ancestor. Long Fei muttered to himself, "Do I have the fate of the entire dragon clan on my shoulders? How can I bear the fate of the dragons? To have to carry the fate of the entire Long family. What relation does that have to do with the dragon clan?" Even now, Long Fei still could not understand what relationship did he have with the dragon race. He clearly had the negative activation to dragon blood, and even if he consumed the dragon blood, it would still be 0. He simply wasn't a warrior of the dragon god, and even if he cultivated till now, he still wouldn't be able to turn into a dragon. How did he become a Yuan Long? How did he become the leader of the dragon clan? He couldn't understand. However, Long Fei was excited. He was secretly pleased. So many dragon clan patriarchs call me boss. This feels quite good. Following that, Long Fei said, "How was this the way out of this manual?" The blood dragon immediately said, "It's right under the seal formation." "Boss, are we going out? Are we really going out?" "Ha ha ha, I can't wait." The blood dragon was extremely excited. Long Fei looked at him in disdain, then jumped into the seal array formation that was boiling red with blood. Rumble, rumble. The secret realm was filled with loud noises, which were extremely intense. Baidu's sister-in-law, A half. Floating life, strongest upgrade system. Another disciple has broken through to the mystic realm. Who could it be this time? Which secret plane? It's the 10th mystic realm, the place where the kid from Long family resided. Pan, whose brows tightened and his eyes turned cold. "You dog, you haven't died?" Second, 8_8419/2357037. One by one, they came out of the secret plane. One by one, they came out of the secret plane. Every disciple that walked out of the secret realm was filled with excitement. Because, with one more genius to break through to the mystic realm, the God Emperor Academy would have another fresh blood. However, a huge boom sounded out, and everyone was shocked. Suddenly, the 5-level secret territory's exit opened, and a youth covered in blood walked out. Long Fei. Almost everyone was shocked. The faces of all the clan elders changed, as one of the clan elders exclaimed out loud, "Hichi is still alive? Who is this person? How did you get injured like this?" His whole body was covered in blood. "Isn't this too embarrassing? What secret realm is this? Could it be from the Blood Sea secret realm?" Ha. Many of the disciples that had broken through to the mystic realm began to laugh in pride. Their eyes were filled with playful contempt because Long Fei was slower than them, so he was weaker than them. Panu frowned. "Your life is pretty good, ah. Even the 5-level secret territory can't kill you." He thought that Long Fei was definitely going to die in the snow region, but he didn't expect that he would actually come out alive. Even though he was in a slightly sorry state, he was still alive. Being alive was enough to prove everything. "Name it," a statistics elder said. Long Fei didn't know whether or not he had met the criteria for the examination. Looking at the large group of disciples around him, he couldn't help but feel a little unconfident and said, "Southern Sky Region, Long Fei." As soon as his voice faded, the statistical elder did not hear it clearly. He asked again, "What did you say your name was?" The higher Long Fei's voice was, the more she said, "Southern Domain, Long Fei." "It's him, boss. Young Master Long." The crowd immediately burst into an uproar. Many people knew the name Long Fei. The Long Fei that was defeated by Pan Shao in one move. I was just saying. He's in such a sorry state. No wonder he's a trash from the South Horizon region. He's lucky to be able to see the light of day. Many people started to mock him. Long Fei also could not be bothered. Towards these people who had ridiculed him, he did not need to take them to heart because, once they met, Long Fei would not let them off. Chun Tianfei and the other two ran over. Seeing that Long Fei was covered in blood, Man Tuoyuo asked worriedly, "Are you all right?" With a simple sentence, she expressed the worry in her heart. Long Fei looked at her and laughed indifferently. I'm fine. Chun Tianfei said, Boss, I heard that the 10th arena's secret realm has the highest level. It's a 3rd level secret realm, right? He had only heard of it. Only a few people knew that Long Fei entering the Snow Region Mystic Realm was the 5-level secret territory, and that it was the only level 5 secret realm in existence. Long Fei said, Who cares how many level-up secret realms it is? Since I've come out, that is enough. Yes, that's enough. Qin Tianfei was overjoyed. At this moment, an elder walked up and said lightly, Since your body is covered in blood and you're heavily injured, your time is also very long, so several exam elders unanimously decided to not pass your test. As soon as he finished, Chun Tianfei was immediately angered and shouted, If you say you won't pass, then you won't. Who do you think you are? My boss has obviously already passed the examination. What qualifications do you have to say that he hasn't passed the examination? Do you really think that you're so great just because you're an elder of the God Emperor Academy? Xiaoing also said, That's right. The rules are set by you. Now that you have passed the examination and you say that you are not qualified, you're just bullying others too much, right? That elder was furious. If you dare say another word, you will be disqualified from taking the examination and you will never be allowed to enter the God Emperor Academy again. It was good that he did not say it, but the moment he said that, Chun Tianfei became even angrier. At this time, Long Fei held on a fatty Chun, then smiled. Did I say I'm heavily injured? The elder looked at Long Fei and said, Your entire body is covered in blood. Don't tell me you aren't heavily injured. You've barely passed this test. If it weren't for your good luck, you wouldn't have been able to pass the secret realm. Ha! Long Fei laughed loudly and said, Right, I was almost unable to pass the secret realm. Not to mention me. Even 10 elders like you, who are so high and mighty, could not pass. 5-level secret territory, can you pass? If that doesn't work, then please shut up, do you understand? If he did not say it, Long Fei would endure. He went all out and charged out of the secret realm. In the end, he even said that his examination was too difficult, and if he didn't pass it, how could he not be infuriated? 5-level secret territory? It's actually the 5-level secret territory. That's impossible, right? He actually used the 5-level secret territory to take the exam. What is he trying to do? What's the difference between this and murder? Moreover, it seems like Long Fei is the only one in the 10th realm. Why is that so? Around them, many people began to discuss. The elder's face sank. Brat, you dare to talk back to the elder like that. I can revoke your qualification. Do you believe me? Long Fei's eyes stared wide and laughed coldly. If you have the guts, then revoke my qualifications right now. As long as you revoke my qualifications, I, Long Fei, swear to the heavens, I'll immediately cripple you. Arrogant. He was extremely arrogant. As long as he dared to annul Long Fei's qualification to take the examination, Long Fei would disregard everything and kill him. To endure once was to endure. Endure it twice or endure it. Endure 3 times is not endure. That is a cowardly bag. Long Fei's limit was only this once. If you faced him a second time, it would be taking revenge on him until he died. Long Fei's aura was extremely ferocious, just as he had said. If you dare to declare, I'll dare to kill you. That elder's expression became extremely ugly. He could feel the killing intent being emitted from Long Fei's body, and his mind turned cold as he said faintly, Long Fei, don't be too arrogant. The corner of Long Fei's mouth lifted and said, I'm sorry. This is exactly how arrogant I am. I was brought out of my mother's womb. It's still the same old saying, if you declare that I'm disqualified, I'll kill you. He did not retreat at all. That elder's face became even uglier. He only wanted to show off in front of Pan, and make Long Fei look bad. The one who was in an awkward position right now wasn't Long Fei, but himself. At this time, Pan Hu smiled slightly and said, Brat, Elder Zhou is doing this for your own good. He does not want you to be heavily injured before entering the next round of the examination. While they were talking, Pan Hu slowly walked down. Qin Tianfei said in a low voice, Boss, This is someone from the sky-separating clan, and this time's Invigilator as well. A member of the Pan clan? Invigilator? Long Fei's heart trembled. He had thought that the sky-separating clan would rise quickly, but he never thought that it would become the God Emperor Academy so quickly. In just a few days' time, the Pan family would become the Invigilator. #half/float *life. This meant that Pan Sheng was probably highly regarded by all the Heavenly Hall of Immortals S. At the same time, Long Fei immediately understood in his heart why he was treated so specially. It should be because of this Invigilator in front of him. F***CK. Long Fei cursed in his heart. You're the one who likes to mess around, aren't you? Third, 8_8419/2357038. Long Fei also laughed along and said, then I really have to thank him, but I'm not to mention heavily injured. Even if I had half a breath left, I would still be able to complete the next examination. Long Fei also laughed along and said, then I really have to thank him, but not to mention heavily injured. Even if I had half a breath left, I would still be able to complete the next examination. It's not too hard to crush those who go through the back door. Invigilator, are you going to abolish my qualification as well? Long Fei smiled playfully. Pan, who maintained a smile on his face, and said, it won't. You are so outstanding. How can I abolish you? I was looking forward to your passing the examination. Long Fei said, aren't you afraid that I will trample all of Sky's separating clan? Pan, who frowned slightly and laughed. What is there to be afraid of? Because only the Sky's separating clan dares to step on people. No one has ever dared to do so. Oh, Long Fei said, how come I heard that Sky's separating clan was stomped so hard by the dragon race all those years ago that he didn't even dare to fart? And then he was stomped by Long family until he hid deep in the mountains and didn't dare to come out? The surroundings went into an uproar. They all looked at Long Fei in shock. He's just courting death. Brainless. This brat is so arrogant that he has no boundaries. If I were the Invigilator, I would have immediately abolished his qualification to take the examination. Let's see how arrogant he is. Is this person crazy? They were all shocked by Long Fei's words. Sky's separating clan was like the sun in the sky. Who could resist it? Not long ago, it had spread that Pan who possessed the Tong Tian power of Celestial. So to be able to take the place of the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals meant that it was easy to do. He had the right to live and die, let alone a disciple taking the examination. Even an elder of a God Emperor Academy could kill him easily if he said so. There was no need to give any reason. Long Fei was actually so arrogant. Did he not want to live anymore? However, Long Fei had a completely different understanding from them. This way, it would only anger Pan Hu to the extreme and would only let him continue to assess himself because, in Pan Hu's heart, he must think of a way to trample Long Fei to death. Indeed, this was what Pan Hu was thinking. Arrogant. Let's see how long you can remain so arrogant and how long you can stay in the arena. Let everyone in the world see you go against the Pan clan. Sky's separating clan could not just rely on Pan Sheng's title of Demon Slayer. He also needed heads. The head of the Long family. Pan Hu laughed lightly. In the past, the dragon race was indeed powerful, and the Long family was also brilliant. But what about now? Are there any dragons in this world? Where is the dragon domain? In the dung heap? So what if you Long family? How many of you are there in such a large, immortal domain? I'm afraid you're the only one. Pan Hu laughed complacently. Brat, in the past it was only history, but now it is the way of the king, and now the sky-separating clan is the way of the king, understand? You definitely won't understand. After being defeated by our young lord in a single move and crushed like a dog, how can a weak cultivation like yours understand? And ruthlessly ridiculed Long Fei. The smell of gunpowder was overwhelming. Long Fei's eyes faintly darkened as he stared at Pan Hu and said, "You're right. Now is the way of the king." Then, I ask that you, the great Invigilator, announce the examination for the second round. I will let you know what is called the way of the king. Long Fei was unable to refute. What he wanted to do now was to use his own strength to ruthlessly crush everything. The way of the king, right? This father will let you know what is called the way of the king. Panhu smiled lightly and said, "Don't worry, I'll keep watch." And then Panhu returned to his original position, asked the elders beside him, and said, "How much time until the end of the first round of examination?" The elder replied, "There's still 10 minutes. This is the end. Those who don't pass the exam, all will be considered as losers," Panhu said directly. He could not wait any longer, nor could he wait any longer. The Pan clan who dared to speak to him in such a manner, could not help but wish they could crush Long Fei on the ground and make him unable to crawl back up. The elder shivered slightly and said, "Elder who?" Just like that. Without waiting for him to finish, Panhu shouted, "Did you not hear what I said? I told you to close the secret plane so that the first round of assessment would come to an end." "Yes, sir." Panhu was the invigilator, so his words were in order. Not to mention, he still had a holy token question of God on him. Who dared to resist? Resisting from him was equivalent to resisting from the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals S. It was not something that a small clan elder like him could afford to offend. And then, buzz, 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 10 consecutive sounds rang out. The exam candidates who were still trying to break through the secret realm were all pushed out by a powerful force. They were pushed out from the exit. They had no idea what was happening. Isn't the examination still not over? Isn't the time not up yet? What's going on? No one gave an explanation. Panhu faintly said one sentence and said, "Next, we will proceed with the second round of the assessment, strength assessment, as of now. Whoever can kill the demon beast in the dimensional realm in the shortest amount of time will get the qualification to pass. The result will be determined by how long it takes. All 10 realms will be held at the same time." In the first trial, 30,000 out of 100,000 disciples had entered the second round. The second round of the examination also involved time. Not only time, there was also strength, cultivation, and speed. More importantly, there was luck. In the 10-dimensional realms, demon beast could be summoned at random. It could be either a level 1 monster, or a level 5, level 6, or even a level 7 8th demon beast. Luck was also a very strong factor on the path of training. Panhu's eyes stared at Long Fei and said coldly, "Kid, let's see how long you can hold out for." "What did you say?" "He passed." Qiu Wandao was so excited that he started laughing out loud. "Ha ha, the young master is indeed sharp. Even the 5-level secret territory cannot stop him. Amazing, amazing, truly amazing." The old man in green was also incomparably excited as he said, "Young master is indeed extraordinary. Even his 5-level secret territory was broken through. Old ghost, you can rest assured this time." Qiu Wandao laughed. "Once the 5-level secret territory is past the second round, the third round will definitely." As he spoke to hear, the space between Qiu Wandao's brows tightened, and said, "If that sinister villain Pan who is able to do anything in the first round, then in the second round, the third round." "No way." Qiu Wandao stood up and said, "I want to go take a look." The green-robed elder grabbed Qiu Wandao and said, "Old bastard, you don't need to go and cause trouble for the young master. If he knew that you had kneeled down to Pan, he would probably go crazy." Also, before Master went into seclusion, he told the young master to take the examination by himself. He must know everything. Qiu Wandao replied, "I'm worried." The old man in green said, "Who can relax? We must believe in the young lord. He will definitely pass." Qiu Wandao said, "What if? You old ghost, what's the chance?" The elder scolded, "There is absolutely no mistake. The young lord will definitely shock everyone. Master's prophecy can't be wrong." Fourth, 8_84/235739. Pan High, 1 minute and 30 seconds. Pan High, 1 minute and 30 seconds. Pan Yu, 1 minute 17 seconds. The higher one's ranking was, the faster one would take the examination. The top 100 rankings were all from the sky-separating clan's Pan family, and not a single one of them took more than 2 minutes to achieve their second round of results. All of them took more than a minute. However, the secret plane space they entered was the same space. Cheating? Right? He was cheating, and it was so obvious. Pan, who was the invigilator, so he could decide who entered any mystic realm space assessment. Pan, who looked at all of the sky separating clan disciples who had excellent results, and revealed a proud smile, and thought to himself, "Fight with me? You think you're worthy? Watch how I play you to death." At this moment, someone walked out from the spatial space, causing the time-counting elder's face to tremble. He said excitedly, "Time. 40 seconds. Break the record." Absolutely. It's him. He also broke the record in the first round. Panju walked out with a complacent smile on his face. While he was laughing complacently, he stared at Long Fei with cold contempt, as if saying, "Brat, watch how I trample you to death." The sky separating clans genius. Time used, 40 seconds. What does that mean? Isn't that too terrifying? Could it be that there's 3 chickens in the shed of the lucky guy? Impossible. It's impossible for the demon beast to be chickens. They are all demon beast-s. Even killing one would take a long time. 40 seconds is too short. The crowd burst into applause. They all admired Panju, and at the same time, they also wanted a kiss as to the Pan family. Chun Tianfei disdainfully replied, "Ass-kissing brat. You're really annoying. This is clearly cheating. Do you take us for blind people? No one is in charge of God, Emperor Academy?" Mantaluo said slightly, "The previous and current principals have all come during the first round of the assessment. It seems like they're still fighting, and in the end they had all left. I heard that they were stomped over by this invigilator." Long Fei's expression changed, and said, "The former principal? Old Xiao?" Mantaluo said, "I also heard that Old Xiao even kneeled down to Pan Hu. I'm not sure why." Cluck, cluck. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly and immediately became displeased. Although he did not know what had happened, this matter definitely had something to do with him. Chen Tianfei was not happy. Isn't the Pan family too arrogant? God Emperor Academy is also the #1 academy in Immortal Domain. How many days has it been? So it was taken over by the Sky Separating Clan. Mantaluo said, "The influence of the #1 Demon Slayer is too big. Not mentioning Pan Sheng. Just the Sky Separating Clan alone has many level geniuses. All the elders in the Thunder Mountains have all become elders of the God Emperor Academy. This Pan who is only one of them." Hearing this, Long Fei was overwhelmed with shock. He never thought that the rise of the Sky Separating Clan would be this fast. This was to take control of the entire God Emperor Academy and use the God Emperor Academy as a springboard to enter the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals, and then truly become the #1 clan in the Sky Martial Continent. To reconstruct the glory of Sky Separating Clan. It was too fast, astonishingly fast. Murong Tian, 1 minute and 7 seconds. Suddenly, when a voice fell, other than the disciples of Sky Separating Clan, this result was the best, causing quite a sensation. Murong Tian bowed towards Pan Hu to show his respect. Pan Hu also smiled slightly and said, "Young Master Murong's strength is indeed extraordinary." Murong Tian said, "Thank you, Elder, for your praise." The Pan family was a huge tree, so he had to hug it tightly. Next, Chun Tianfei. Chun Tianfei was startled for a moment and immediately replied, "We're here. Ha ha, ha." It caused a wave of mocking laughter. "Damn fat pig." The prodigal son of the Chun family. I heard that old General Chun died because of him. If it was me, I would have died long ago. Chun Tianfei clenched his fists. His face was filled with anger. At this moment, Pan Hu suddenly said, "Open Demon Beast Space #8. "Yes, sir." An elder idea moved, causing Fatty Chun to feel unhappy, but he did not have a choice as he rushed into the Demon Beast Space. In less than 2 minutes. Buzz. 1 minute, 57 seconds. The moment Fatty Chun rushed out, his body sank, and he almost couldn't stand still. There were 2 deep scratches on his chest. For his holy armor fairy vein defense to be able to harm him like this, the level of the demon beast must be very high. Chun Tianfei panted heavily and said, "Fuck you, 3-4 rating monster and beasts." I almost died inside. It was also thanks to his strong defense that he was able to survive inside. And then, Fatty said, "Boss, are you trying to beat us to death?" I am certain that the lower ranked the secret realm, the higher the level of the demon beast. Chun Tianfei gasped. Long Fei did not speak. The anger in his heart was boiling. There was a moment of silence. "Next, man Toaluo. You are a special examination candidate. You can enter." Without waiting for the elder to finish speaking, Pan Hu said in a cold voice, "Number 9, Demon Beast Area." That elder was taken aback, but he dared not say anything else. He immediately opened the 9th space and warned, "Be careful." Man Toaluo said, "Thank you." Xiao Ying started to worry and said, "Miss, be careful." Long Fei looked at Pan Hu, and Pan Hu also looked at him with a cold and disdainful smile on his face. "I won't die playing with you." Man Toaluo walked into the demon beast space. The moment she walked in, the 3-5 level monster immediately rushed toward her. This was a special space. At this moment, without any hesitation, the idea activated itself and released the poison immortal root from her body. Poisonous gas coiled around him. In just a second, the 3-5 level monster had begun to fall in love, and then they started to fight each other crazily. Buzz. 56 seconds. The expression on the face of the statistical elder drastically changed. He was incomparably shocked when he saw that there wasn't the slightest bit of injury on Man Toaluo's body. The crowd went into an uproar. Is this how incredible a poison master is? 56 seconds. That's too fast. No matter how fast he is, he's still not as fast as an opponent. Who could be faster than him? That's right. Absolutely no more than the best results of the second round. Man Toaluo walked back to Long Fei's side and said, "The demon beast in the 9th level of the demon beast is called the 5-level monster. Long Fei, I'm worried that he would. If she wasn't a poison master, she wouldn't have been able to pass the examination. A 5-level monster, and it was 3 of them. In such a small space, there was no place for it to hide." Next, Xiao Ying. Pan Hu gave a cold laugh and said, "Number 9 space of the demon beast." Long Fei pulled Xiao Ying and said, "Give up." Xiao Ying giggled and said, "Young Master Long, I want to give it a try." She also wanted to enter the God Emperor Academy's realm and follow beside Man Toaluo and the others. Xiao Ying walked into the space. A minute passed. 2 minutes passed. 3 minutes passed. It was only until the 5th minute that the spatial gate opened and a bloody man walked out from within. The moment he walked out, Xiao Ying grinned at him and smiled. Following that, his body went limp and he fainted on the floor. Xiao Ying. Man Toaluo immediately rushed forward. The anger in Long Fei's heart had already reached an uncontrollable stage. Pan Hu laughed complacently. "What? Are you in a bad mood?" Equals semi/floating life plus. Haha. I feel great. Long Fei said solemnly. "I will make you feel even better." 10 minutes passed. A voice sounded out. Next, Long Fei. Table of contents 8_8419/2357040. Next, Long Fei. Next, Long Fei. The moment he said that, everyone turned to look at him. Pan Hu looked at him with a complacent sneer. Long Fei walked forward with a calm expression without any ripples. Pan Hu smiled and said, "Long Fei, I'll give you a chance to beg me. As long as you kneel down and beg me, I'll..." Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei sneered coldly and said, "I'll give you a chance to beg me. As long as you kneel down and kowtow to me 100 times, I'll make your sky-separating clan not look so bad. Remember, you need to kowtow 100 times, not a single one less." Pan Hu's eyes turned sinister as he shouted, "Kid, you are courting death. To dare speak to an invigilator like that, other than Long Fei, no one else could." Many of the surrounding disciples looked at him with cold smiles. This was especially true for the disciples of the Pan clan. All of them stared at Long Fei teasingly. "Brat, just wait for your death." You really think of yourself as a root? He's just a target for our Pan family to play with. You overestimate yourself. Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "Don't waste your breath. Activate the 10th demon beast space. Isn't it all prepared for me?" Pan Hu sneered and said, "It's good that you know it, so." Long Fei interrupted him once again. "So don't be blind anymore. Hurry up and start. I want to slap your sky separating clan's face right now." Cluck, cluck, cluck. Pan Hu's face was filled with anger as he shouted, "Open the 10th space of the demon beast." An elder walked forward and the space opened. Long Fei stood at the spatial entrance, stared at Pan Hu and sneered. 40 seconds, right? Fatty, read the seconds. Finished. Long Fei rushed into the demon beast space. Seconds? What do you mean? Chun Tianfei said anxiously. Space number 9 is filled with 5-level monster. Then the demon beast in space number 10. Boss, you have to be careful. Mantal Yuo held on to Xiao Ying and said in a low voice, "This Pan family is too much." Pan Hu coldly glanced at them and said, "This is the result of going against the Pan family. I have given you a chance before, and if you still insist on going with the kid from Long family, then this will not be the case." Chun Tianfei said in disdain, "If you have the guts, come at me. Am I afraid of you?" Fatty Hu's eyes turned sinister as his killing intent turned cold. In another place, inside the demon beast space, the instant Long Fei stepped into the space of the demon beast, the 3-level 6 demon beast S pounced on him. Without any hesitation, the idea moved, "Old devil gravity, get out!" Boom, boom, boom. With 3 loud bangs, the 3-level demon beast were killed in less than 3 seconds. Long Fei tightened his grip on the 3 demon beast. Wong. At this moment, the spatial gate opened. At this moment, when Long Fei walked out of the demon beast space, everyone was dumbstruck. The statistical elder looked at the time and faintly said, 3 seconds. Everyone was surprised. Pan Hu's brain was so twisted that he couldn't think straight and couldn't help but mutter to himself, "Space number 10 is broken? How could he be so fast? What are you doing? When you go in, you will come out. Could it be that you were kicked out by the demon beast? Didn't the demon beast space say that killing all the demon beast won't open the door? Did he kill demon beast? Or is it that he got lucky and blew up? Are there no demon beast inside?" The surrounding people all started to suspect. However, even those elders who had calmed down knew clearly that it was impossible for the 10th demon beast to not have any demon beast in it. But how did Long Fei do it? This was too unbelievable. Long Fei stared at Pan Hu in disdain. "Do you know what it means to slap your face? So what if your sky-separating clan is cheating? It's only been 40 seconds. Is it that bad? Is it that amazing? I will slap you until you can't find the north." Long Fei said it out loud, because he was truly very unhappy. Cheating? Even if he cheats, I will still crush him. To crush 40 seconds in 3 seconds, what kind of concept was that? It was hard to imagine. The faces of those people from the sky separating clan burned, and they felt incomparable discomfort. The demon beast in Dimension 1 was completely different from the demon beast in Dimension 10. If they were in space number 10, they would probably lose their lives there. How could they even talk about completing the exam? Panju suddenly clamored, saying, "Humph, why are you being so arrogant? Did you kill the demon beast inside? I'm afraid that you are so scared that your legs have gone limp, and you have escaped, right? You're right. I don't believe that anyone can kill 3 demon beasts in 3 seconds, even if it's 3 chickens. The way I see it, you're the one cheating." Murong Tian also quickly stepped forward and said in a loud voice, "I suggest disqualified him. God Emperor Academy does not need this kind of disciple who cheats." This was a chance to hug someone's thigh. He absolutely could not miss it. Next, a few disciples started to clamor. "The people from Long family are all shameless and despicable. If they can't pass the exam, they will cheat. I'm afraid the first round of the exam is also cheating. This kind of person with corrupted morals is not fit to enter the God Emperor Academy. You're right. He will be disqualified from the exam." The Pan family was in the mainstream now. The reason why he was able to hug this big tree was to keep up with the situation. He would definitely have plenty of good days in the future. Pan-Hu laughed complacently and said, "Long Fei, are you cheating?" Chun Tianfei exploded and said angrily, "I cheated for 18 generations of your ancestors. Why would our boss need to cheat? You can't come out without killing all of the demon beasts in the demon beast space. You've been slapped in the face by my boss. Why don't you just say you cheated? Why don't you go to the heavens?" Pan-Hu laughed. "If he didn't cheat, then he proved it to me." Chun Tianfei said angrily, "A proof? You mean the proof that someone is not called Sky-Separating Clan? Why do you need my boss to prove it? Who do you think you are?" Pan-Hu was not angry. Instead, he had a playful smile on his face as he said, "If I can't prove it, then I'm cheating. Why are you asking me? Based on the fact that I am this time's Invigilator, is that enough? Can't prove it's cheating? What kind of logic was this?" This was embarrassing for Long Fei. Pan-Hu's complacent mouth made Long Fei exceptionally unhappy, and he sneered. 3 seconds of face smacking isn't enough, is it? Sure, then take a good look. Long Fei was already prepared. He was just worried that Pan-Hu would use this move. Boom! A head full of fresh blood and burning hot level 6 demon beast was taken out from the Space Ring S by Long Fei. However, the top of his head was a mess of flesh and blood, and he had been killed instantly by a heavy punch. The entire audience suddenly shook and instantly calmed down. Long Fei growled, "Is it good now? Still unhappy? Floating life? Table of contents, no windows?" The idea moved, and another demon beast took out and heavily smashed onto the ground. And now, boom! Another demon beast's corpse smashed out. Long Fei jumped onto the corpse and looked down from above. He stared at Pan-Hu with cold eyes and sneered. "Satisfying?" Chapter 18_8419/2357041. Face smacking had to be accurate. An attack had to be ruthless. Face smacking had to be accurate. An attack had to be ruthless. Taking the chance was like slapping him in the face. 1 is not enough. Then 100. He smoked so much that even his mother couldn't recognize him. 3 seconds to cheat? What about now? 3-level demon beast had just been killed, and there was still someone who dared to say that they cheated? The tyrannical aura on Long Fei's body was released, suppressing the entire audience. Everyone was extremely shocked in their hearts, and it was not only because of Long Fei's time. This was also because of the demon beast in the 10th space. How could this kind of demon beast be used for assessment? Isn't this playing to the point of death? Every disciple of the Pan family had a burning expression on their face. The demon beast they met in the demon beast space were all low-leveled 1 demon beast. It was simply not comparable to Long Fei at all. It felt like the difference between heaven and earth. Who would have thought that Long Fei would actually bring out the demon beast's corpse from the demon beast space? Pan-Hu never expected that this slap by Long Fei would be so unbearable. His fists clenched under his sleeves, his face extremely gloomy. Long Fei coldly laughed. "Invigilator, am I still cheating?" Pan-Hu gritted his teeth until it made a cracking sound. Long Fei laughed. "Why aren't you speaking? Didn't those who like to mock and shout just now say that I was cheating? Call me one more now. Murong Tian, go kiss ass again. No, continue shouting. Sky-separating clan? Space number 1 still lasts 40 seconds. What sky-separating clan? How arrogant. Laughable, truly laughable, ha. Long Fei laughed loudly. Chun Tianfei also laughed out loud. Boss is mighty. The mighty Long family. Just like that, huh? Chun Tianfei released the anger in his heart and looked at the surrounding disciples of the Pan clan, unable to say a single word. Long Fei's gaze turned as he stared at Pan-Hu and said, "Long family can crush your sky-separating clan once, and crush him twice. Do you understand?" Very arrogant. When he said those words, the anger in Pan-Hu's heart completely exploded. His eyes flashed with endless killing intent as he stared at Long Fei and said solemnly, "Brat, don't be too arrogant." It was his turn to be angry. Long Fei had a playful smile on his face as he said, "How many times have I told you? This is how arrogant I am. This is how arrogant I am." Cluck, cluck, cluck. Pan, whose teeth were about to break. He wanted to tear Long Fei to shreds right now. To be able to crush the entire Pan clan once, and then twice. How arrogant was that? Back then, when the Long family crushed the Pan clan, there were also dozens of experts who took action. It was just Long Fei alone. As if he had suffered a great humiliation, Pan, who said solemnly, "Let's see how long you can continue being so arrogant for." The third test begins. At this moment, Long Fei slightly said, "Wait." Pan, whose forehead turned sinister, and said, "Is there anything else?" Long Fei said, "Invigilator, don't you have to explain why the level 6 demon beast appeared?" The highest level demon beast for the examination was the 3-rate monster and beast, and none of them could pass 3 levels. If they passed the 3-rate monster and beast, it would be considered a violation of the rules. Not only 3-rate monster and beast, even the level 6 demon beast had appeared. What was he trying to do? Are you joking with the lives of the examinees? Pan, who sneered and said, "Explanation? How do you want to explain that?" Long Fei asked, "Why would the level 6 demon beast appear in the demon beast space? Don't tell me that you don't know about it as an invigilator? Level 6 demon beast. Are you trying to take our exam candidate's life as a joke?" He did not think of an explanation. However, he wanted the Sky Separating Clan to lose all of its reputation, so he decided to start from this small injustice. Long Fei continued, "The level 6 demon beast is me. If it was anyone else, would they die inside, and all of these disciples have extraordinary talent? They came to God Emperor Academy to become a demon slayer, wanting to contribute to the Sky Martial Continent. But what about you? You used such a high-level demon beast. Shouldn't you explain yourself?" Many disciples looked towards Pan, who, just as Long Fei had said, they came to God Emperor Academy to become a devil slayer and wanted to contribute to the Sky Martial Continent. If they met with the level 6 demon beast, then they began to feel displeased in their hearts. "I have to explain. Are you making fun of our lives? What kind of invigilator is this? Who cares if I didn't pass the examination earlier? What I meant was a 4-rating monster and beasts. Why can't we enter the first demon beast space test, and only the disciples of your Sky Separating Clan can enter? Master Invigilator, shouldn't you explain?" His voice slowly rose up. Those who hadn't passed the exam in particular felt that they had been treated unfairly. The faces of the elders of the God Emperor Academy all darkened as they looked towards Pan Hu. This assessment was extremely unfair, but all of this was arranged by Pan Hu. They did not dare to say anything. Pan Hu smiled slightly and said, "I am the Invigilator, and I am the king of this examination. I am the heavens. How about this explanation?" Ha ha ha! After he finished speaking, he even laughed arrogantly. Long Fei also laughed, laughing even more happily than him. Pig teammate. At first, it was just some disciples who had failed the assessment, but now there were many disciples who had passed the assessment and started clamoring. These people were all hot-blooded youths. They were young and frivolous. They were cynical. When Pan Hu said this, they felt even more unhappy. The situation became uncontrollable. They were all questioning Pan Hu. Pan Hu's face ashened. He seemed to realize that his words and actions just now were wrong, but he wanted to be arrogant and make everyone afraid of the Sky Separating Clan. Immediately, Pan Hu's face darkened and shouted, "Where are the God Emperor Academy's guards?" "Huh!" he shouted in unison. Pan Hu said angrily, "If you dare say even half a word more, you will be disqualified. If anyone dares to take another step, go straight to the point." This action instantly suppressed the examinees who were shouting. However, the anger in their hearts soared to 1,000 feet high. Once this anger was rebuilt and crushed, it would explode with a bang. Long Fei laughed in his heart. "I finally found what's called a pig teammate. One step wrong, one step wrong." Long Fei looked at Pan, who had an ugly expression, and thought to himself, "I was wondering how strong you were, but to think that you're actually just a weak person. At this moment, Long Fei said loudly, "We request for fair treatment." His voice was like a fuse. Chun Tianfei shouted hysterically, "Request for fair treatment and the abolition of Invigilator." Requesting fair treatment. Abolish the Invigilator. Requesting fair treatment. It exploded. Their hearts exploded with anger. All of them were pressing towards Pan Hu. Pan Hu's face changed greatly, and he shouted angrily, "You want to die, right?" Second, data underscore 8419/2357042. Other than the Pan clan disciples and the few examinees who were hugging their thighs, everyone else started to loudly resist. Other than the Pan clan disciples and the few examinees who were hugging their thighs, everyone else started to loudly resist. The situation slowly went out of control. The few examination elders from the God Emperor Academy immediately rushed to Pan Hu's side and said, "Elder Hu, if this continues, we will lose control." "I'm afraid." Not waiting for him to finish, Pan Hu shouted loudly, "Out of control? So what if I lose control? Let's see to what extent they can lose control. I want to see if they still need to take the exam and whether they still want to enter the God Emperor Academy." Anger. Pan Hu was forced into a bad mood. His gaze tensed up as he shouted, "Guards, listen up." "Ha!" Pan Hu's gaze swept across them and disdainfully glanced at the examinees. "If I don't give you guys some face, you will see how amazing I am. Hit him. Beat him to death." The 100 guards were all elites of the God Emperor Academy, and their cultivation was all at arrogant, immortal state. To the examinees, they were powerful existences. They looked at each other and hesitated. Pan Hu became angry. "My orders, didn't you hear me? Call me and beat this crap to death. It is indeed shameful. They are lacking in discipline. Let's see who dares to rebel after we beat them to death." The guards didn't dare to disobey. He immediately blocked the attack. It was fine if he didn't try to block, but once he did, he completely lost control. Beating someone up. God Emperor, Academy's guard captain. This is going too far. Brothers, charge. In an instant, it exploded. Over 30,000 disciples rushed up together. A mere 100 guards were simply not enough. They were instantly swallowed up. When Pan Hu saw this, his face turned white. "It's the opposite. It's the opposite. Call for someone to come immediately. Call for all the elite guards of the God Emperor Academy to come here and clean up all the trash." One of the elders said, "Elder Hu, I think it's better if you apologize to them and calm them down. They just want an explanation." "Huh." With a slap, Pan Hu said angrily, "Your brain must be flooded, right? I apologize to them. What is my identity? What is their identity? Now, even if they kneel down and beg me, I won't let them off." The elder's expression was incomparably ugly. Being slapped in front of so many people made him extremely unhappy. Pan Hu looked at the few elders around him and shouted, "Why are you looking at me like that? You want a beating too, don't you? Stop these examinees for me." None of the elders moved. The elder who was hit suddenly shouted, "Invigilator is here! Invigilator is here!" After hearing that, a large wave of examinees rushed over like a surging tide. Pan Hu's face was pale. He stared at the elder and bellowed, "Su Tian, what are you trying to do? Don't tell me you also want to rebel?" Elder Su Tian shouted, "Pan Hu, don't think that just because you gave birth to a demon slayer, you can go against the rules. I'll tell you this is the God Emperor Academy, not a heavenly hall of immortals. It's not up to you to do whatever you want." After being suppressed for so long, the elders were also boiling with rage. He had made a lot of trouble during the assessment, and he had opened the sky, separating clans back door again and again. This kind of unfair examination was not the goal of the God Emperor Academy. Not to mention, the assessment was to be conducted from a selection list of over 100,000 disciples. He hoped to be able to select some disciples with potential or who might become a demon slayer in the future. As long as they weren't people from the Pan clan, they would be completely helpless. The fact that the Pan family wanted to monopolize the God Emperor Academy made many elders unhappy. Moreover, amongst these elders, many of them were affected by the thoughts of the previous Principal Qiu Wandao, God Emperor Academy was her. She was not under the control of any power. It was the same for the Heavenly Hall of Immortals. Why would a Heavenly Hall of Immortals set up an Invigilator? Why would the holy token question of God command the principle of the God Emperor Academy? Why? Every man has a fire. If you don't want to say it, then do it. Pan, who had incurred the wrath of the masses. The disciples that rushed up immediately surrounded Pan, who, and as fierce as ever, Pan, who asked, "What are you trying to do?" "I am the Invigilator. I have the holy token question of God on me. If you dare touch me, I will immediately disqualify you from taking the God Emperor Academy exam." Not waiting for him to finish, a crude disciple walked out and said angrily, "I have not passed anyways. I don't plan to test your bullshit God Emperor Academy in the future. What I'm doing now is crippling you." Finished. He flew straight at her. "Mount Tai is pressing down on you." At this moment, the other disciples did the same, rushing forward without a care for their own safety. "Are you even fit to be an Invigilator? What kind of *T sky separating clan is this? A trash family like you is worthy of protecting the Sky Martial Continent." Pooey. Pan, whose cultivation was not bad, but he was still unable to handle the attacks of tens of disciples. After a few rounds, he was crushed like a dead dog lying on the ground. Bam! Ah! Bam! Ah! The more people they fought, the more Pan, who was scared to the point that his face was pale. He could not control himself. Today was the second time. He was scared to death by Chiu Wandao's chi for the first time. This time it was beaten out. The *T all came out. His face was bruised and swollen to the point that it looked like a pig's head, and his clothes were torn to shreds. The most important point was that the holy token question of God in his arms had been snatched away some time ago. Throwing away the holy token question of God is no small matter. Moreover, this was Pan Sheng's holy token question of God. If he continued blaming Pan Sheng, he simply could not afford it. "Return it to me. Return the holy token question of God to me." Bang, bang, bang. He punched and kicked, violently hitting Pan, who, causing him to wail on the ground. He no longer had that arrogant expression from before and was in an extremely sorry state. In another place, Long Face sat at the side, looking at the riot, and asked, "Sky separating clan? This time, let's see how you can open the sky. God Emperor Academy will see how you can continue to stay here." Suddenly, Fatty Chin chuckled as he walked over, showing Long Fei the item in his embrace as he said excitedly, "Boss, holy token question of God." "Huh?" Long Fei's face was filled with shock as he said, "Fatty." Fatty Chin said, "How is it? Have you lost your cool?" Long Fei glared at him and said, "This is the root of disaster. If you do not wish to be hanged and beaten up by the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals, you should quickly throw it away." Before he could finish his words, Yin Huang Ancestor said, "This is not bad, leave it behind." Long Fei immediately corrected himself. "Or give it to me." Fatty Chin looked at Long Fei and said, "Boss, are you not afraid that this might be the cause of a disaster?" F***CK. What was I afraid of? Long Fei said, "Let me destroy it." Chun Tianfei carefully gave it to Long Fei and said in a low voice, "Boss, this is a holy token question of God. If it is discovered by a spirit star envoy of the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals, it will be killed." Long Fei replied, "Got it. Since the Yin Huang Ancestor said it was a good thing, then it must be useful." As for the star spirit messenger, was there a need to be afraid of him? Long Fei could not help but ask in his heart, "Ancestor, what is the use of this medallion?" Third, 8_8419/2357043. Yin Huang Ancestor laughed. "Didn't you always want to undo the seal's chains on the gravity troll's body? The power this holy token question of God contains can break through the power of around 100 seal chains on his body." Yin Huang Ancestor laughed. "Didn't you always want to undo the seal's chains on the gravity troll's body? The power this holy token question of God contains can break through the power of around 100 seal chains on his body." The seal chains on the gravity troll's body restricted his strength. As long as the seal on the chains were completely released, then that would be a true giant demon. Moreover, it was not only the gravity troll. Laimo also had the seal on him. His seal, being the earth binding, also needed to be undone. Hearing Yin Huang ancestor's words, Long Fei became excited. A holy token question of God has 100 seal chains, and a gravity troll has 1,008 chains. That means there are 10 holy token question of God. Long Fei was excited. The gravity troll's current power was comparable to golden immortal rank. If the breaking through the seal was restrained, his strength would probably be able to break through the fitted realm, or even the immortal realm. At that time, Long Fei could no longer imagine it. So he said, one word, die. The holy token question of God disappeared into the space ring. The gravity troll let out a furious roar in the first level of hell and started to absorb the holy token question of God's power. The holy token question of God were made from a special material, and there were very few of them in the entire Tongtian Hall of Immortals. Only people with a special contribution were able to obtain them. This was the reward for Pan Sheng becoming a demon slayer and becoming a successor disciple of the Supreme God. Also, there were even some holy token question of God in the hands of some special elders. Furthermore, the leader of the Star Spirits, the boss of the Star Spirit Messenger, also had a holy token question of God. Fatty Chin asked, Boss, that Pan who has already been beaten to a pulp, what do we do now? Long Fei smiled slightly. Make this matter big, and make it difficult for the Pan family. After Pan, who gets beaten up, he will be a disciple of the Sky Separating Clan. Chun Tianfei immediately said, Understood. Immediately, Chun Tianfei shouted from the crowd, Beat down the Pan clan, and beat down all of those disciples who cheated. The crowd immediately responded. Following that, a huge wave of people rushed towards the Pan clan disciples. They were all frightened to the point where they pissed their pants. 100 people against 10,000 people. No matter how strong they were, they wouldn't be able to withstand it. Only a few of the higher-ranked disciples of the Pan family were able to dodge the attack and escape, and the rest were all lying on the ground in pain. Long Fei laughed coldly and said, Sky Separating Clan? Play with me? I won't be able to toy with you. It's rioting. It's rioting. Head President, what should we do? This year's examinees are all in a frenzy. The chaos in the examination grounds spread to the God Emperor Academy Elders' courtyard a few minutes later. Headmaster, quickly send people to suppress them. Go save Elder Pan who, otherwise, he will be beaten to death. Are these examinees crazy? Immediately send people. An elder shouted. At this time, Zhang Tianai said slightly, Pan who has a holy token question of God on him, he represents Heavenly Hall of Immortals. Even if it was a riot, he can withstand it. God Emperor Academy cannot send anyone to suppress it. In addition, Zhang Tianai said, since the creation of the God Emperor Academy, there has never been a riot assessment. Why did it appear this time? This means that some elders went overboard and provoked the wrath of the masses. Pan, who is the invigilator, he must take responsibility for this matter. Zhang Tianai immediately followed. God Emperor Academy is not allowed to send anyone to suppress them. This is my order. The more this riot was suppressed, the more counterproductive it would be. What he needed to do now was not to suppress them, but to pacify them. Moreover, if the Pan clan were to be too arrogant during this period of time, they would need to show off their skills and make them understand that controlling God Emperor Academy was not that simple. As soon as Zhang Tianai finished speaking, the expressions of a few elders slightly changed, and they said, Principal, this isn't good, since this is the God Emperor Academy's assessment. Shouldn't we protect the reputation of the Academy? Furthermore, that is Elder Pan who, if something were to happen to him, how are we going to take responsibility? Zhang Tianai asked, Responsible? To whom? Why should we be held responsible when he's the one behind it? You can talk to me after you figure that out. At this moment, starlight flashed in the sky as a figure landed in the courtyard. Star Soul Summoner. Dean Song, why is there a riot in this exam? He immediately questioned Zhang Tianai. Zhang Tianai's expression was somewhat unhappy and said, "Why would there be a riot? I should be asking you, Tong Tian Hall of Immortals, right? It has always been our God Emperor Academy who presided over the examinations. So why did the Heavenly Hall of Immortals send the Invigilator this year to question me now that there's been a riot? Then I have to ask you, why did you send Pan Hu as Invigilator? Why is there a holy token question of God on him?" The face of the star soul summoning emissary darkened. "What did you say? The holy token question of God is also on him?" The holy token question of God represented the supreme, transcendent hall of immortals, a symbol of identity. It was even more so the majesty of a heavenly. Seeing his expression, Zhang Tianai thought in his heart, could it be that Pan Hu used the holy token question of God on his own accord? The star spiritualist immediately said, "This is a very important matter. Come with me to the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals immediately." Zhang Tianai said, "I can go to the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals, but what is more important now is to quell the uprising. Mr. Star Soul, may I trouble you to accompany me to the testing site?" This matter had to be settled, otherwise there would be more casualties. These were the ambitious youths of the Sky Martial Continent. They had rushed to the God Emperor Academy to test, wanting to become a demon slayer, wanting to do their part for the Sky Martial Continent, and not letting them feel disheartened. Although the Star Spirit Messenger was unwilling, he still agreed and said, "All right. Ha ha ha. Good kid. The young lord is indeed the young lord. He's too awesome." Qiu Wandao was extremely excited. Pan Hu's *T was even beaten out. The green-clothed elder said, "Old bastard, could it be that you've gone too far this time? Moreover, you lost a holy token question of God. I have a feeling that the young master has obtained this holy token question of God. This is a cause for disaster. If the holy token question of God were to be lost, it would mean that the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals would be humiliated. It was very likely that it would be found on Long Fei's head. Furthermore, with Pan Sheng's status in the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals, even if Long Fei did not obtain the holy token question of God, the matter would probably be pushed towards him." Qiu Wandao's brows tightened and said, "This matter is truly troublesome. I just don't know if young master obtained the holy token question of God. If it really was him who took it, then the consequences would be." Their hearts sank. Qiu Wandao immediately said, "I need to go." This time, the elder did not stop him and said, "I will go with you." Chapter 48_8419/2357044. God Emperor Academy was angry. God Emperor Academy was angry. The Heavenly Hall of Immortals was also angry. How did a good exam turn into a riot? When Zhang Tianai rushed over, the situation had gone out of control. He had been beaten into a human shape. His butt was covered with feces, and his face was covered with feces. The Pan clan disciples also suffered a similar fate. Zhang Tianai's voice sank. "Everyone quiet down." His voice was filled with an imposing aura. The cultivation level of his golden immortal rank burst out, forcefully suppressing all the sounds in the area. Zhang Tianai walked forward and said, "I am the great principal of the God Emperor Academy. Now that the examination has ended, I apologize to everyone and hope that everyone can calm down." Finished. Zhang Tianai bowed 90 degrees. It was also at this time the entire audience gradually quieted down, and all of them were completely convinced. The principal, who was so high up in the academy, actually apologized to them. This had a huge impact on their hearts. Long Fei also shook and said, "This principal is not bad. If he suppressed it again, it would completely collapse." At this time, Pan Hu crawled up from the ground and shouted angrily, "Zhang Tianai, I order you all to kill these rebel bastards. Kill them all." At this moment, Zhang Tianai was enraged and slapped him across the face, shouting, "Pan Hu, you have to take responsibility for everything that has happened today. Men, suppress him." This slap had to be done. be it public or private. Zhang Ti and I had a fight, otherwise he would not be able to calm the anger of the masses. Pan Hu's eyes bulged out as he stared at Zhang Ti and I. You dare hit me? Do you know who I am? You dare to hit me? Even an elder of the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals would not dare to touch me. Since you, a mere principal of a God Emperor Academy, actually dare to hit me. Zhang Ti and I, it is not too late for you to kneel down and apologize, or else. Zhang Ti and I sent another slap flying over, directly slapping Pan Hu flat on the ground, and said loudly, "Take him away from me." Too arrogant. No matter what, he was still the principal of the God Emperor Academy. All of the disciples were startled and began to admire him more and more. "Wait!" Star Spirit Messenger shouted. Pan Hu's vision became blurry from the two slaps, but when he saw Star Spirit Messenger, he immediately became angry again and said, "Star Soul Master, quickly kill these people. These people all want to rebel." Star Spirit Messenger's voice sank as he asked, "Let me ask you, do you have a holy token question of God with you?" Pan Hu's face darkened, and his body couldn't help but tremble. He could only give Pan Sheng to him as a precaution, so he absolutely could not use it carelessly. However, not only did he use it now, it had even been stolen. This was something he could not afford, and would even implicate Pan Sheng. Pan Hu said with a trembling voice, "The holy token question of God. It was snatched away by these disciples. They all want to rebel. Master Star Spirit, the holy token question of God is on them. Kill all of them, and we will definitely be able to find it." The space between Star Spirit Messenger's eyebrows tightened, stared at him, and said, "Losing the holy token question of God. The result is..." He did not continue, and then his gaze swept across the idea on his body. The reason why Star Spirit Messenger's power was different from the average warriors was because they had cultivated a type of star power. This kind of power was similar to the power of Holy Token Question of God, so they could sense the location of Holy Token Question of God. At this moment, Long Fei's mind tensed up. He felt an idea sweep past his body. A few seconds later, Star Spirit Messenger's brows tightened. "No." Then he tried again, but the result was the same. "No." Star Spirit Messenger slightly said, "Who took the holy token question of God and handed it over as soon as possible. Otherwise, the consequences will be much worse than what you imagine. Nothing will happen to him if I bring it out now." Everyone looked at each other. What is a holy token question of God? I've never seen it before. That's right, the holy token question of God knows nothing. How can we take it out? Chun Tianfei was also a loss. "My lord, we have never seen the holy token question of God before. It must be that the Invigilator hid himself and wanted to steal the holy token question of God away. Just say that we stole it." "Exactly. You're right." Immediately, it caused a lot of resonance. Star Spirit Messenger's eyes darkened as he stared at Pan Hu. Pan Hu's face turned pale white and explained, "Master, I really did not take it for myself. They really took it away." Star Spirit Messenger took out a holy token question of God from his chest pocket and said, "It is precisely this kind of medallion. Any one of you have seen it before, take it out." Everyone looked at the holy token question of God in his hands. The corner of Long Fei's mouth drew back, and he said with a slight smile, "Another holy token question of God. Could it be that all Star Spirit Messenger carry a holy token question of God with them?" Long Fei thought about this, and his heart darkened. If that's the case, then the holy token question of God are much easier to deal with. He wanted to unlock the seal on the gravity troll as soon as possible and release all of his strength. Then he would have to get more holy token question of God. Hand it over quickly. The Star Spirit Messenger's voice was filled with anger. Everyone still shook their heads. He was too flustered just a moment ago, so no one paid any attention to it. Furthermore, Fatty Chun was extremely careful. How could he possibly have been discovered by anyone? At this moment, Murong Tian suddenly rushed out and said, "Lord Star Spirit, this riot was instigated by Long Fei. I think his goal was the holy token question of God on Elder Pan Hu's body. He stole the holy token question of God." It didn't matter if it was true or not, as if Morong Tian had pushed everything to Long Fei. Even if it wasn't, he would still be taken away, to be investigated by the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals. Chun Tianfei immediately became angry. Morong Tian, you F*** king talk again for this daddy. My boss hasn't moved an inch since the beginning. Not waiting for him to finish, Star Spirit Messenger moved and instantly landed beside Long Fei. Buzz. His strength was extremely strong. Furthermore, he had an aura that was familiar to Long Fei. Long Fei's heart tightened as he thought to himself, Senior, when he was in the Sky Soul Village, there were 3-star spirit emissaries Qi that was outside the courtyard. Long Fei could sense it clearly, and one of them was him. Long Fei's eyes darkened. Star Spirit Messenger saw the killing intent in Long Fei's eyes. Staring at him, he coldly snorted and said, You're that trash of a kid from Long family? His gaze was also filled with killing intent. Last time, he did not find Long Fei, causing him to be scolded by Gu Wuji. Long Fei also felt the killing intent, and the corner of his mouth drew back as he smiled. You're that dog that Gu Wuji raised? How dare you? HTTP. // The Star Spirit Messenger was furious. The strong, imposing aura rushed into Long Fei's sea of consciousness, wanting to crush him into pieces. Long Fei's expression tensed, and in his heart he shouted, Golden Dragon Protector! It was also at this time. Blood Dragon Ancestor of the War, Pet Space, shouted angrily, Boss, let me out. I'll kill him. Chapter 5. Thank you for your support. 8_8419/2357045. If you don't give me face, I won't give you face either. If you don't give me face, I won't give you face either. There was killing intent in Star Spirit Messenger's eyes. Similarly, Long Fei's eyes also carried killing intent, and it was not stronger than his. It was even hotter. He was the one who took Senior Yi away. What was going on now? Seeing him again, the killing intent in Long Fei's heart became even stronger. Blood Dragon Ancestor's voice sounded in his mind. Long Fei moved his body to answer. Don't be anxious. At this time, Qiu Wandao walked out. The azure-robed old man was secretly protecting him. One of them was in the light, while the other was in the dark. Qiu Wandao walked up to look at the Star Spirit Messenger, and coldly laughed. You call me trash the moment you start, but a Star Spirit Messenger who passes through the sky like you is truly a great genius. Zhang Tianai tightened his eyebrows and immediately walked over. The corner of Star Spirit Messenger's eyes moved slightly as the killing intent in his heart disappeared. With Qiu Wandao here, it was unlikely for him to kill Long Fei. Moreover, just now, when he released such a strong pressure on Long Fei, he was actually able to completely block it. Star Spirit Messenger did not care about Qiu Wandao and stared at Long Fei. You better hand over the holy token question of God, or else you will not be able to bear the consequences. Long Fei replied, No, what do you want me to hand it over? Do you want me to give birth to one for you? It was obviously Pan who lost the holy token question of God, and now you want to blame it on me? Someone just said it so clearly that they are framing us. I feel that you need to investigate this person. He is trying to deceive people. Calamity. If Morong Tian didn't let him pass, then he wouldn't let Morong Tian pass either. Long Fei's gaze shifted as he stared at the distant Morong Tian and said, Morong Tian, you are the young duke of the Morong King's manor, a little genius. You must have had some ulterior motives since you approached the Pan clan right from the start of the examination, for you must have definitely taken a fancy to the holy token question of God on Pan Hu's body. Chun Tianfei immediately added fuel to the fire. I just saw him sneaking around beside Pan Hu. I don't know what to do. I saw it too. We all saw it. Many disciples stood by Long Fei's side because of Pan Hu's unfair treatment. Morong Tian's expression changed greatly. When he felt the Star Spirit Messenger's cold gaze, he was almost scared to the point of blurting out feces. He shouted, Long Fei, stop slandering me. Long Fei laughed coldly. If not, what are you afraid of? Why did your face turn so ugly? You must be feeling guilty about doing something like that. You. Morong Tian was speechless. He directly kneeled in front of Star's spirit messenger and said, Master, I did not. I really did not. I swear to the heavens, I definitely did not steal the holy token question of God. He had been arrogant a moment ago, but now he had turned into a dead dog. Perhaps he could still be arrogant in front of these disciples, but facing Star's spirit messenger, he was only afraid. The space between Star's spirit messenger's brows expanded as a wave of idea pressed on his head. Pucci. Murong Tian was crushed to the point that his face turned pale as he spat out a mouthful of blood in incomparable pain. Star's spirit messenger retracted his aura and said, It doesn't have the slightest bit of holy token question of God's aura on him. Murong Tian acted like he was amnesty and said, I definitely won't go against Tong Tian Hall of Immortals, and even more so, won't go against Star's spirit. Then, Xiao Wandao said, Since you can sense the existence of holy token question of God, then you should be very clear on whether or not there are any holy token question of God here. You are just a small messenger from Tong Tian Hall of Immortals. What right do you have to suppress the examinees from God Emperor Academy? By the Star's spirit messenger laughed coldly and said, This is the power. He took out the holy token question of God and stared at Xiao Wandao. Old Xiao, don't think that just because you're the previous principal you can do whatever you want. There is a limit to supreme God's tolerance. Xiao Wandao laughed and said, Does his tolerance for restrictions have anything to do with me? Let me ask you right now. The reason for the current situation is that you, the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals, randomly assign people to be the Invigilator, and you, the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals, are responsible for everything that has happened. Zhang Ti and I immediately gave Xiao Wandao a meaningful look. Xiao Wandao completely pretended that he couldn't see and said, Why is it that Pan, who is able to do whatever he wants, that the disciples of his family are in the simplest examination grounds, and that the other disciples are in the more difficult examination grounds? Someone who was not on good terms with his sky-separating clan was even placed in the 5-level secret territory, in the 10th space of the demon beast. If not for your indulgence, no one would dare to do this. His business wasn't big, but everyone around him could clearly hear what he said. Indeed, if not for Hall of Immortals' order, this would not have happened. The center of Star's spirit messenger's brows wrinkled. He snorted coldly and said, I am only investigating the matter of the holy token question of God. You want the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals to take full responsibility? Old man Xiao, did you shit your brains? The Star's spirit messenger sneered, and then roared loudly, causing the surrounding tens of thousands of disciples to be crushed. Our Tong Tian Hall of Immortals only recognizes Demon Slayer, no matter how you enter the God Emperor Academy. As long as you become a Demon Slayer, you can obtain everything you want. What the God Emperor Academy cannot give you, our Tong Tian Hall of Immortals can give. The so-called injustice is only an excuse for the weak. You want fairness? Once you get stronger, you will naturally be on the basis of fairness. The Star Spirit Messenger sneered. There is no fairness in the world. You want fairness? Yes. As long as you become a powerful warrior, your words will be fair. This is the law of this world. Long Fei's forehead tightened and could not help but clench his fists. All the disciples felt very uncomfortable, but they had no choice but to accept this reality. The weak were never fair. Star Spirit Messenger slightly said, God Emperor Academy will temporarily stop. Little brat from Long family, you can't get out of this matter. Xiao Wandao, didn't you say that our Tong Tian Hall of Immortals would take full responsibility? Then the two of you follow me up to the Heavenly Hall of Immortals. Star Spirit Messenger looked at Zhang Tianai again and said, Great principal, you should come along as well. Man Taoyuo pulled Long Fei back, shook his head, and said, Don't go, don't go. Qin Tianfei also said, Boss, don't go. What kind of place was the Heavenly Hall of Immortals? It was the nest of the Star Spirit Messenger. Who knows where he would bring Long Fei? Table of contents equals semi/floating life plus The Tong Tian Hall of Immortals was an immortal domain. It could be said to be the gathering center for all the strong practitioners in the entire Sky Martial Continent. If something were to happen, Long Fei would not be able to escape safely. Star Spirit Messenger looked at Long Fei contemptuously and said, "What? Don't dare to? The people of Long family are not afraid of the heavens. Are they not afraid of the earth? So he's just as cowardly as a mouse." Long Fei looked at Star Spirit Messenger. His mind was filled with thoughts of how to get his hands on the holy token question of God, and he said with a slight smile, "Go." Of course. First, 8_8419/2357046. Chapter 679, Emptiness. Chapter 679, Emptiness. Do you wish to cultivate it? The system sounded out. Long Fei's tiger body shook from the excitement as she immediately shouted, "Cultivate!" Ding! Congratulations, player Long Fei, for training exquisite hand to obtain 100 experience points, 100 power or celestial points, and a special 100 points reward. Long Fei also quickly checked the attributes of the technique. Skill path: Mystical Hands, Empty Level, God Consumption, 1000 power of celestial S description. This skill is called Divine Thief Skill. First success rate is 10%. Second success rate is 5%. Third success rate is 1%. Description 2. The weaker the opponent is, the higher the success rate will be. Description 3. The higher the lucky value, the higher the success rate. Description 4. Can target humans or demon beast bosses. Description 5. Once discovered, it can no longer be used. Looking at the description of the system, Long Fei was extremely excited and thought to herself, "I'm going to make a huge fortune now, ha." Long Fei only wanted to comprehend thief skill, but didn't think that she would be able to comprehend a divine thief skill. "All right, then I'll use you to practice." Long Fei stared at Star Spirit Messenger and revealed a surprised expression. "Ah, this is the palace question of God." Suddenly, a sound was heard. It did not scare Star Spirit Messenger, but it did scare Qiu Wandao and Zhang Tianai to the point that they shivered. Star Spirit Messenger revealed a disdainful sneer. "Are you scared? And because the people of the Long family have seen the world, I never thought that there would be a country bumpkin like you." With a silly look on his face, Long Fei walked forward and said, "Sir Star Spirit, you are right. How could a country bumpkin like me have seen such a vast world?" While they were talking, Long Fei looked at the majestic palace question of God in the distance with a face full of worship. Because they were still in the air, he pretended to look intoxicated as he took a step into the air. Long Fei's body slightly trembled. "Master, save me." Star Spirit Messenger let out a cold laugh and did not attack, but he was actually grabbed by Long Fei with one hand. Ding! Stealing failed. Ruh! Long Fei quickly pulled Star Spirit Messenger's hand and stood up, then said to him, "Thank you, sir, for saving me." He felt a burst of bitterness in his heart as he thought to himself, "Isn't my luck too bad?" Star Spirit Messenger had a kind of obedient feeling throughout her entire body, but she didn't sense anything. Looking at Long Fei's pitiful appearance, she laughed in disdain. "Save you?" Qiu Wandao stepped forward and said, "Brat, be careful. This is 10,000 meters in the air. If you fall, you will definitely die." Long Fei hurriedly said, Yes. I'll definitely be careful." Long Fei was waiting for the cooldown to end, and her mind was also looking at her own attributes. Is 20 points of lucky value not enough? The first time, there's a 10% chance of failure, and the next time, it's 5%. Can it still succeed? If he wanted to use the skill Exquisite Hand like the sky, he would have to touch the opponent's body and couldn't do it through the air. Half a minute passed. Cooldown ended. They were about to reach the entrance of the Sky Origin skill, and Long Fei could not miss this rare opportunity. Her body slightly moved and suddenly pounced forward. Long Fei's face changed greatly as she said, We're here. Can I jump down?" Bam! His body bumped into the star spirit messenger, and he activated his skill. Ding! Stealing failed. Holy sh asterisk t. Long Fei cursed in her heart. He f asterisk king failed again. Are you trying to play me to death? Star spirit messenger frowned and shouted, Brat, if you keep acting recklessly, I'll throw you down. Long Fei hurriedly said, I'm sorry, I'm too blessed. This country bumpkin has never seen the world before. Please forgive me. I can't let him find out. Otherwise, it would have been impossible to succeed. After failing twice in a row, the success rate had dropped to 1%. If he failed 3 times in a row, he would not be able to cast this skill again within 1 day. It was really deadly. Sir Star Spirit, you're back. At the entrance of the Outer Space Palace, 2 gatekeepers welcomed them respectfully. Xiao Wandao's mind went cold. The Blood Immortal Realm? Even the gatekeeping disciple is at the Blood Immortal Realm. It seems like the rumors are true. The palace question of God is indeed the strongest existence in the gods' martial continent. Long Fei didn't have the mood to care about the rank of the gatekeeping disciple. All he was thinking about right now was how to fetch the holy token question of God on Star Spirit Messenger's body. One of the guards looked at Long Fei and Xiao Wandao and asked, Master, who are these 2? The Star Spirit Messenger said slightly, One is the previous dean, the other is a brat from Long family. These 2 must take responsibility for the rebellion examination this time. Xiao Wandao's face changed and immediately shouted, We're going to pay the main responsibility? You can really shake the pot. It was also at this moment. Cool down ended. I'm going all out. Long Fei was furious. She roared out in her heart, Power of the Golden Dragon! Roar! The 8 dragons were enraged, and power surged. The dragon blade in Long Fei's hand suddenly slashed down and said with raging anger, Bullying people is not this way of bullying. 5th level Peerless. Open. The rose into the air and slashed down. No one had expected such a sudden attack. Even Xiao Wandao and Zhang Tianai did not expect that Long Fei would suddenly take action and that she would release such a powerful force. The description of the skill Exquisite Hand Empty mentioned that the weaker the opponent, the higher the success rate. Long Fei was ready to throw caution to the wind. Coincidentally, Star Spirit Messenger's words gave him an excuse to go crazy. Star Spirit Messenger would never have dreamed of such a slash. Who would dare to make a move on Outer Space Palace? Ever since the creation of the Outer Space Palace, there had not been a single person who dared to make a move, not to mention that it was an examinee who had made a move against the Star Spirit Messenger. Thus, this sneak attack could be said to be an unexpected success. Boom! Crack! Star Spirit Messenger was stunned by the blade. Although he was not dead, the chi and blood in his chest was boiling. She was exceptionally angry, and the power in her body exploded out. Brat, you're courting death. Endless rage. With that, the Star Spirit Messenger's palms struck down. His reaction was extremely fast. It could be said to be a godlike reaction. Long Fei's heart tensed up. 8 Dragons Barrier. He did not think about counterattacking, and he was also not a match for Star Spirit Messenger. His level pressure was too great, and his goal was not to kill him, but to let Star Spirit Messenger attack him, because there would be physical contact. He could use his Divine Thief skill. The moment his palms struck down, Qiu Wandao took a step forward, wanting to block them. However, Long Fei straightened her body and blocked the attack first. Her palms dropped, and Long Fei moved. Wonderful. Ding! Qiu Wandao frowned. Qiu Wandao frowned. He also didn't think that Long Fei would agree to go to the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals. If he went there, his cultivation would not be able to guarantee his safety. Although Qiu Wandao was unconvinced with the existence of the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals, the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals was indeed the strongest power in the immortal domain and was also the center of the strong. Moreover, other than a few normal clan elders, the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals had also concealed a variety of monster rankerers who had survived for hundreds of years. Their cultivation bases were unimaginably high. Any one of them could crush him. He didn't know what Long Fei was thinking, but since Long Fei had agreed, he had to follow. Even if he were to die, he had to protect him well. Star's spirit messenger smiled faintly and said, "All right." He was overjoyed. He had always suspected that Long Fei had obtained the holy token question of Goddess from Pan Hu's body, but he couldn't sense it. It was very strange. However, Supreme God would definitely be able to sense it. And then again, Long Fei had killed Hong Tianjun in the Southern Sky region, and this matter had not been settled yet. He was secretly pleased in his heart. "Kid, just you wait." Long Fei's mind kept on thinking, comprehending, and comprehending. His mind was filled with thoughts about the holy token question of God, and his mind was filled with thoughts on how to obtain the holy token question of God on Star's spirit messenger. Steal. Therefore, he needed a skill. It was a skill that belonged to a thief. Before he comprehended this skill, he could not be too far away from Star's spirit messenger, or else it would be a waste for him to comprehend it. One holy token question of God, and 100 seal chains. I cannot let them go so easily. This was what Long Fei wanted to do. Long Fei turned around and said to Fatty Chun, "Wait here for my return. If I don't return within a day, quickly leave God Emperor City. The further the better." What exactly happened on that day in the South Horizon region, Long Fei did not know either. Lang Qinli still hasn't come back. He had always been worried about her. Chun Tianfei was naturally unable to stop Long Fei and said, "Boss, be careful." Man Taoyuo looked at Long Fei, and Long Fei also looked at her. And then, the Star Spirit Messenger moved, and a strong force dragged Long Fei, Qiu Wandao, and Zhang Tianai away. They flew into the air and disappeared in the blink of an eye. On the way to the Heavenly Hall of Immortals, Qiu Wandao asked Long Fei via sound transmission, "Why did you come to Tong Tian Hall of Immortals?" Long Fei replied, "If you want to see what a Heavenly Hall of Immortals is, you can find the way there the next time you go." Qiu Wandao was speechless. In his impression, Long Fei was definitely not a reckless person. To agree to Star Spirit Messenger's provocation, just like that, this did not seem like his personality. There must be something else. Qiu Wandao asked again, "Are the holy token question of God on Pan Hu's body?" He was very clear that Pan Hu had a holy token question of God on him, and he was also very clear on the consequences of stealing the holy token question of God. He also had to be clear in order to be prepared. Long Fei looked at Qiu Wandao and chuckled, but did not directly answer. Seeing Long Fei smile, Qiu Wandao's heart thumped, truly a madman. Master is a madman, and Little Master is even crazier. He even dares to snatch holy token question of Goddess. Seems like this trip to the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals will be very dangerous. Qiu Wandao's heart tightened. He had to prepare everything. 5 minutes later, as he passed through the thick clouds, a fairy-like scene entered his eyes. 9 gigantic islands were floating in the air. There were over 100 islands surrounding these islands. The pavilions, buildings, immortal grasses, flowers, birds, and waterfalls could all be said to be there. It was just like the fairyland in the movies. It was even more shocking. Long Fei was extremely shocked in his heart. Isn't this place just too beautiful? Zhang Tianai slightly said, "This is the Outer Space Palace, also known as the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals. The main peak is the 9 large islands. The Hall of Immortals is at the center of the 9 great islands. There are the Peak of Elders, the Hidden Wu's Peak S, the Tong Tian Pavilion, the Star Spirit Hall, and a few other power of celestial secret realms. These are all cultivation holy lands, and it should be said that the Sky Martial Continent has the densest spiritual energy here. The giant islands floating in the air are Heaven's foreign stone. There are rumors that this is an outer space vehicle because it was killed by the dragon race during the attack. There are also rumors that these are meteorites from outer space, and they contain a strong power to cultivate. This is the first place that the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals is found. The reason why it is called Tong Tian Hall of Immortals is because this is the place that is closest to the sky in the Sky Martial Continent. As long as you understand life and death and break through the cycle of reincarnation, you'll be able to soar into the skies and enter a higher and broader realm. Zhang Tianya's eyes burned with passion. All his life, he had been pursuing the peak of martial arts. Every martial practitioner wanted to soar into the sky. He rushed out of Sky Martial Continent and wanted to take a look at the wider world. Xiao Wandao's eyes were also filled with incomparable shock. This was the first time he had come to the Heavenly Hall of Immortals, and he was also stunned by the scene in front of him. Upon entering, he immediately felt a dense amount of spiritual energy rush towards him. Long Fei actually didn't have much of feeling towards spirit energy, but the system kept beeping out notifications in his mind. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for gaining +1 comprehension. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for gaining +1 comprehension. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for gaining +1 comprehension. The system kept ringing. Moreover, after Long Fei examined the attributes, he realized that this was not a true increase in comprehension power, but a temporary increase. Astonished, he thought to himself, could it be that this place can allow a person's comprehension power to increase? Holy sh**t. Then isn't this place too abnormal? If the spiritual energy was dense, then it was already cheating and starting to hang. His comprehension ability was also crazily increasing. Even a pig needed to be able to break through quickly. My comprehension ability has increased. All right. Long Fei seized this moment and started to frantically simulate in his mind. The thief's skills were being calculated time and time again, and would soon reach the outer space palace. If he did not use this opportunity to comprehend it, he would really not be able to do anything. Ding! Comprehension failed. Ding! Comprehension failed. Ding! He was getting closer and closer to the main gate of the outer space palace. As long as Star Spirit Messenger returned back to the outer space palace, he would hand over the power of Celestial of Tong Tian Tower. For him, this was a rare opportunity. I can't miss it. Whether the seal on the gravity troll could be undone depended on it. Hurry, hurry. Long Fei was starting to get anxious. Equals half float hashtag life suddenly. The system sounded out a melodious prompt. Ding! Congratulations to the player Long Fei for comprehending the God Thief skill Exquisite Hand. Do you wish to cultivate it? Second, 8_8419/2357047. The system sounded out. The system sounded out. In that instant, Long Fei shouted in his heart, Old Master, bless me. Your father is risking his life. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for successfully stealing it. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Holy Token Question of God. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Gu Wuji's Secret Order. 2 consecutive notifications sounded. Also at the same time, Long Fei's chest nearly split open as 2 palm prints pierced through his internal organs and shot out from his back. A mouthful of blood spurted out from his mouth, and his body flew out like a broken kite. Bam! Long Fei heavily smashed onto the ground, rolling continuously for over 10 meters before finally stopping. Unwell. It was extremely uncomfortable. Death. All of Long Fei's bones and limbs were penetrated by the Star Spirit Messenger's palm force. All of the meridians in his body felt as if they would break at any moment. Fuck. Is this the power of the Star Spirit Messenger? Too terrifying. It was too terrifying. This kind of power was not something Long Fei could endure at the moment. If not for the protection of the 8 Dragon's body, Long Fei's body would have already been turned into mush, and all the meridians in his body would have been broken. And then, Long Fei endured the pain in his body, controlled his idea, and said, Gravity Troll, I'll give you another Tong Tian power of Celestial. Release the chains on my body. The Holy Token Question of God had to be dealt with quickly. Otherwise, if Star Spirit Messenger sensed its existence, he would really be screwed. The Gravity Troll said in a heavy tone, Thank you, Master. When the Holy Token Question of God was absorbed by him, the aura on the immortal badge instantly disappeared. Just like in the examination grounds, Star's spirit messenger did not sense the existence of holy token question of God either. Last time, he couldn't sense it, but this time, he definitely couldn't. Gu Wuji's secret order? Other than the holy token question of God, he also stole another thing, a letter. The corner of Long Fei's mouth slightly hooked up, and he thought to himself, there really is a collusion, Gu Wuji. This time let's see if you die or not. The Star Spirit Hall was like the imperial guards of the palace. It could only obey supreme God's orders. It was the same for any of the Star Spirit Messengeress. If anyone other than the Supreme God ordered the Star Spirit Messenger to act, or colluded with them, then that person had to exceed their authority. Last time, although the Supreme God authorized the E to arrest, he did not ask them to take action, nor did he ask them to apprehend Long Fei. Kill, leave no one alive. Long Fei's heart tensed up. Gu Wuji, if you don't let me off, I won't let you off either. With this letter, Long Fei became more confident. With great difficulty, he crawled up from the ground and swallowed a few medicinal pills to stabilize his internal injuries. Star Spirit Messenger's eyes were filled with anger as he bellowed. You're not dead yet? Then go to hell. His body moved, attacking once again. If he endured another palm strike, even would find it hard to escape death with his golden dragon protector, and even the golden dragon would need to awaken. His power had not reached the level of an existence that could protect Long Fei from any kind of energy attack. Earlier, he didn't know why Long Fei wanted him to block that palm strike, but this time, he definitely wouldn't let Long Fei take the risk. His body's strength moved. With a roar, Qiu Wandao charged forward like a savage demon beast. Rumble, rumble, rumble. A huge explosion sounded as Qiu Wandao took a few steps back. With a deep voice, he shouted, "Come again if you dare." Both of his arms looked like they were about to break. He felt extremely uncomfortable as he stared coldly at Qiu Wandao and said, "Old thing, you dare to stop me?" His cultivation was weaker than Qiu Wandao's. However, he was not afraid because this was the outer space palace, his territory. Qiu Wandao slightly shouted, "So what if I stop you? If something happened to the God Emperor Academy's assessment, why did you throw the blame on us?" The Star Spirit Messenger's gaze turned sinister as he said, "If you didn't stir up trouble, would there be so many problems? Since you want to stop me, then I will let you know the power of Heavenly Hall of Immortals." Star Spirit Messenger's expression changed as an idea exploded above him. In that instant, the Star Spirit Hall was greatly shaken. Someone dares to make a move on Star Spirit Messenger? It's an outer space palace? What's so special about that? Immediately, in less than 3 seconds, dozens of beams of light flew out from the Star Spirit Hall. Bam! 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 Numerous figures landed and stood beside Star Spirit Messenger. All of them were experts. They were all experts of Heavenly Hall of Immortals. Junior brother, who bullied you? Who dares to come to the outer space palace to cause trouble? You're looking to die, right? Star Spirit Messenger stared at Qiu Wandao and laughed coldly, then said, "Old thing, you want to fight me? Come on, let's see if I can't kill you." There were more than 30 Star Spirit Messenger S present. Their cultivations were all at Golden Immortal rank, and there were no lack of peak Golden Immortal stage experts. They were all much stronger than Qiu Wandao. Things had gotten out of hand. Zhang Tianai immediately said, "My lord, this is just a misunderstanding. It's all a misunderstanding. Scram to the side. There are no misunderstandings here. Only people who want to die." One of the Star Spirit Messenger snorted coldly at Zhang Tianai, completely looking down on him. There is only one outcome for anyone who dares to make a move on Star Spirit Messenger. Die. Qiu Wandao's brows tightened, protecting Long Fei behind him. He sent a sound transmission to him. "Kid, later when the fight starts, you can run first. Don't worry about me." Long Fei was secretly grateful in his heart and said, "Old Qiu, this matter was caused by me. I'll settle it myself." "You solved it. What are you going to solve? You are the young master of Long family, and also his hope. You cannot die here," Qiu Wandao said sternly. He could risk his life for Long Fei, but he did not want Long Fei to act rashly and leave his life in this place. Because he was the young master of the Long family. His mission was to allow the Long family to rise up and solve the mystery of the Long family. Long Fei said, "Old Xiao, just who are you? Why are you defending me like this?" He had met her once in a Yuling island and had not gotten to know her well. In the auction, who would not hesitate to sacrifice themselves for him just because he offended the elders and principal of God Emperor Academy. There must be something hidden in this. Xiao Wandao smiled slightly and said, "Who I am is not important. Long family has once saved my ancestors. It's that simple." 36. Oh, search. Half floating / / equals Long Fei was in disbelief. However, now is not the time to talk about this. Long Fei's idea sunk and said, "Old demon gravity, how much progress have you made with the seal?" Chapter 48_8419/2357049. Things had gotten out of hand. Things had gotten out of hand. The disciples of the Star Spirit Hall rushed out in full force and surrounded Xiao Wandao and him. He definitely wouldn't let this go easily. That being the case, Long Fei would not hide anything. He would release all of his power. The gravity troll roared out, 180 chains open. "Master, give me another half a minute and I'll be able to break through the 200 chains." The gravity troll replied, then did not speak, and continued to attack. Lei Mo became excited and said, "Master, please let me go out and play." Long Fei said, "Don't be anxious. Once the battle starts, it will be earth-shattering, and at that time you will have the chance to fight." Lei Mo was extremely excited and said, "All right." Long Fei had made all the preparations. As long as they dared to make a move, he would release the old demon and let them experience the might of the giant demon. Xiao Wandao said in a low voice, "Why are you walking up here? You're hiding behind me." Long Fei said, "Old Xiao, you should be clear about the personality of the Long family. If you do not retreat, are you not afraid of the heavens or the earth? Are you not afraid of the Star Spirit Messenger? If you're not happy, then so be it." Arrogant beyond compare. The aura from Long Fei's body was also extremely arrogant. Even Outer Space Palace, it was the same, arrogant. Arrogant. When the Star Spirit Messenger heard this, they were all enraged. Everyone knows that the people of Long family are wild. Today we finally understand that you're not wild. You're seeking death. How dare you be so arrogant? Even if Long Wushan is still alive, he wouldn't dare to be so arrogant. Kill him. One of the Star Spirit Messenger S suddenly bellowed, and all of the Star Spirit Messenger S released a burst of powerful chi, turning into a burst of star power that crushed down. The rolling thunder had crushed Xiang Longfei's and his sea of consciousness. Xiao Wandao's body sank and let out a heavy roar. Ah! His body could barely take it. Long Fei was in the same pain. His sea of consciousness continued to churn, as though it was setting off monstrous waves. Even the Golden Dragon could not resist the pain, as the Star Spirit Messenger's alliance was too strong. "Old devil, how much longer do you need?" Long Fei roared. The gravity troll let out a roar and broke 3 of the sealed chains on its body, then roared out, "I'm done. Motherf asterisk cur." Long Fei cursed in his heart, then turned the sky upside down. Just as the idea moved and was about to release its gravity troll, at this moment, a huge illusion of a human face appeared in the sky and shouted, "Stop!" His voice was like thunder, crushing the pressure of the stars in an instant. The illusion of the Supreme God. Supreme God. The bodies of the Star Spirit Messenger S trembled as they kneeled on the ground and said in unison, "We pay our respects to Supreme God." Black blood trickled out of the corner of Long Fei's mouth, and his head was still buzzing loudly, as though it was going to explode at any moment. Xiao Wandao was the same. His face was pale white, as if he had instantly aged more than 10 years. Supreme God said slightly, Bring the two of them to the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals. One of the star emissaries immediately said, "Disciple understands." And then, the shadow of the sky suddenly disappeared. Long Fei looked up into the sky and thought, "This is the Supreme God? The leader of the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals? Ancestor, what realm is this fellow in?" Yin Huang, Ancestor, exhaled a breath and said, "Your giant demon, Lei Mo, along with the blood dragon mount, the dragon Salyer, and me, none of them are his match. Very strong. He's extremely strong, the strongest person I've ever met in the Sky Martial continent. With your current cultivation, just one of his idea wouldn't be able to take it." The Yin Huang Ancestor said, "His cultivation should have reached the immortal realm. Moreover, he is not the strongest person in the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals. There are also a few old monsters, and they're the true terrifying existences." When Long Fei had just chopped down the dragon Salyer, Yin Huang Ancestor instantly sensed that Long Fei was being watched by a few idea. This kind of idea is even stronger than Supreme God. He should be the Supreme Elder of the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals, an expert of the Master's generation. It was impossible to resist. They were probably the strongest people in the Sky Martial continent, the truly old monsters. Long Fei was overwhelmed with shock. Damn it. Isn't killing this bastard going to level up several times? If you're to go berserk, what sort of items would he be able to drop? Isn't he going to defy the heavens? He's a madman. The stronger he was, the more excited he would be, because he had the game striking system. The stronger the boss, the better it would feel. Long Fei immediately asked, "Ancestor, can't we defeat the giant demon clan seal, even if they remove it? I have never seen the power of the giant demon seal when it was completely released. Only until the day it was released will we know." "Oh." Long Fei then asked, "Ancestor, you are a Chaos Realm ranker. What about you?" Yin Huang Ancestor said, "Currently, my power is not a match for you. I need a large amount of energy. Well, I can condense a virtual image to leave your body. All of these cats and dogs will be fine." "Rub?" Long Fei shouted excitedly. "Ancestor, then hurry up and cultivate. I can't even wait." If he really wanted to kill a few level old monsters, then he could soar into the sky and level up like a rocket. Yin Huang Ancestor said, "Then you should at least get more holy artifact. Go and touch your own conscience and ask, how long has it been since you last got your hands on a holy artifact? Say it yourself. I'm starving." If you don't ask, you know. With a single question, Long Fei glanced at the space ring, his heart feeling cold. "Ancestor, I really do owe you in my previous life. You have eaten up all the things in the auction, even tens of thousands of fairy stones you have. Empty. Really crazy. It's only been a few days, and everything's gone. To instantly change from a billionaire to a pauper, this feeling was too unbearable." Yin Huang Ancestor grinned and said, "The food during this period of time is still not bad. Well, I'm going to train. Be careful." Then he dived and never came out. Long Fei wanted to cry, but no tears came out. "I wonder how many holy artifacts you will scam me until you manage to condense your shadow of your Tao. I really want to die. I better think of a way to get the remaining 8 holy token question of God." Long Fei muttered in his heart. The gravity troll seal had already been activated, and he had to quickly obtain the 8 holy token question of God. First, he undid the gravity troll seal. This way, he would have one more level of bodyguard. And then there was the earth binding seal on Lemo's body. Long Fei did not need to be afraid of anyone when it came to unlocking the seal. At this moment, the star spirit messenger leading the way snorted and said, "Heavenly has arrived." At this moment, in the great hall of the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals, all the elders looked at Long Fei with cold eyes, as if he was a deep pond or a tiger cave. The moment Supreme God's voice fell, he said, "Bring him in." Chapter 5. Thank you for your support. "Bring him in. Bring him in." His voice carried the tone of an interrogator. Moreover, there was also a hint of anger in his voice. He was angry at Long Fei, and also angry at Xiao Wandao. Zhang Tianai said in a low voice, When we enter the Hall of Immortals, you all must not be too reckless anymore, understand? The Tong Tian Hall of Immortals was not like other places. If they angered the Supreme God, they would be eternally doomed. Qiu Wandao and Long Fei did not speak. Qiu Wandao was worried about Long Fei, because in his heart, Long Fei had already leveled up to become a madman that was even crazier than Master. The hall was filled with elders. Above the great hall was the Supreme God. After Long Fei entered the hall, one of the elders shouted, "You mortals, quickly kneel down." His voice was not loud, but it exploded in Long Fei's sea of consciousness like thunder, and his body faintly trembled, as though he could not endure it any longer. Long Fei clenched both his fists tightly and said with an unyielding tone, "The disciples of my Long family do not kneel to the heavens, nor to the earth, nor to anyone." Even the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals, Long Fei was still not afraid. If they wanted him to kneel, they would have to kill him. Long Fei continued, "If you say, 'I am immortal,' then how good can you be? Did you ascend? Have you broken through to the sky martial continent? Since you do not have it, then aren't you also immortal? How dare you?" That elder shouted loudly, "How can the Hall of Immortals allow a lowly brat like you to be so arrogant?" Long Fei sneered, "Is this what you call arrogance? You probably haven't seen my wild and arrogant look before." "You." The elder opened his eyes wide, and the aura around his body became even stronger than before. His powerful aura crushed Long Fei's mind like an avalanche. All of the elders in the hall were looking at Long Fei with cold smiles on their faces. Supreme God was also looking at Long Fei. He knew that the elder was suppressing Long Fei, but he did not stop him. Long Fei stood in place, as steady as a boulder, unmoving by the 8 winds. However, cold sweat poured down his back. His mind and his sea of consciousness were overturning the sky and the earth. Golden Dragon Fury. Golden Dragon Master, who was protecting his mind and sea of consciousness, roared. He released a streak of golden light, and as if he had broken through his shackles, the powerful dragon's protection firmly protected Long Fei's mind and sea of consciousness. Buzz! Buzz! 2 soft buzzing sounds directly crushed the elder's aura. Boom! A muffled sound rang out in the air. The elder's body trembled slightly, and a malicious glint appeared between his brows. Long Fei shouted, "Come again! Come at me if you dare!" His aura was extremely arrogant, his 2 eyes staring straight at the elder, as if he was about to eat someone. The attack that Long Fei hated the most was suppression. Long Fei was very unhappy. The elder was also furious and shouted, "How preposterous!" His body moved. His aura exploded outwards. A beast let out a roar from his body. Then the shadow of the beast charged out and floated in the air. Roar, the furious demon beast. Unbridled. This was the might of an immortal foundation, an extremely powerful demonic beast. Every elder in the Heavenly Hall of Immortals had a great immortal foundation, and this person had a fierce beast immortal foundation. Haha, this kid must have been crushed. Elder Chang's fierce beast immortal foundation pressure is not ordinary. Even if this kid has a defensive device on him, it won't be able to block it. This drills into one's mind to tear apart the mental pressure. Serves him right. You dare to be so arrogant in the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals. What kind of place do you think you are here? Crush him down. The elders were discussing in hushed voices. Qiu Wandao's body slightly moved, wanting to block by himself. Long Fei pulled him back and said, "Old Qiu, I'll do it myself." Roar! The fierce beast in the air roared once again and rushed towards Long Fei's head. Long Fei did not go to defend. The huge, ferocious beast attacked both his sea of consciousness and his mind. The elder smirked, "Get down." Once the fierce beast entered Long Fei's body, his mind would be torn apart, his sea of consciousness would be broken through, and Long Fei would become a trash. The mind was damaged in 2 places. No matter how powerful a genius was, it was useless. It would be useless for the rest of its life. Moreover, his vicious beast immortal root was different. Even if there was someone with a higher cultivation level, as long as it entered his mind, he would be finished. That elder became complacent, and with a pleased sneer on his face, he stared at Long Fei and said, "Brat, the heavenly is not a place for you to behave atrociously." The corners of Long Fei's lips curled up slightly. He was still as calm as before. The 8 winds did not move as he stared at the elder who had just spoken and sneered. "Do you think you're very strong? Do you think that your fierce beast immortal foundation's virtual shadow can injure me?" "Ha ha!" Long Fei suddenly laughed loudly. "Golden dragon, annihilate!" Boom! Boom! Inside his sea of consciousness, the golden dragon rose up with its incomparably ferocious dragon head, dazzling golden body, and 2 huge eyes staring at that extremely tiny shadow of the fierce beast. That vicious beast was trembling in fear. Forget about biting into its sea of consciousness. It was so scared that it did not even dare to move. Who would have thought that there was a golden dragon hidden within Long Fei's sea of consciousness? Furthermore, it was an 8-clawed golden dragon, the Golden Dragon Master sect. Was this a joke? Roar! With a furious roar, Golden Dragon Master swung his claws down and directly crushed the shadow of the fierce beast into powder. The same was true for his mind. The shadow of the fierce beast had been crushed to pieces. Just this strong. The elder's body was pushed back repeatedly. Puff! He spat out a mouthful of blood, stared at Long Fei, and said, You. Long Fei contemptuously said, Your sister, come again, you will crush your father again. All the elders of the heavenly hall of immortals were shocked. Supreme God frowned slightly as he thought to himself, Dragons might? Huff! Isn't this guy negative activation to dragon blood? Why is there the aura of a dragon inside your body? Under normal circumstances, Long family S with negative activation of dragon blood would not have any aura of a dragon, and it was even more impossible for them to release such a strong dragon's might. Could the investigation be wrong? A Long family disciple with negative activation to dragon blood basically did not need any attention, because, no matter how strong he was, he wouldn't have much future prospects. Thus, the Supreme God had never placed Long Fei in his eyes. Even if he killed Hong Tianjun and chased him away, he never thought that Long Fei would be a demon slayer. Negative activation to dragon blood meant trash. A good-for-nothing that could not be changed in a lifetime. But now, no matter how he looked at Long Fei, he felt that it was not as simple as negative activation to dragon blood. The brat in front of him was concealing himself. The negative activation to dragon blood in his body was definitely concealing something. This boy, not simple. First, 8_8419/2357051. Long family had always been a very mysterious existence. Long family had always been a very mysterious existence. Before the war, Long family was the #1 clan in the Sky Martial continent, the strongest clan. He had crushed all the other ancient family in the Sky Martial continent, and his Pan clan was only one of them. Moreover, the rise of Long family could be described as godly. The people of the Long family walked out of the prehistoric territory with Dragon Salyer behind them. They announced to the outside world that they had obtained the divine dragon's blood essence, and all the disciples of the Long family obtained the inheritance of the dragon's spirit blood overnight. And in a short span of half a month, the Long family went from a small, unknown clan to a first-class family. The South Horizon region had become the most powerful region in the 5 great regions. The extremes are reversed. The strength of the Long family seemed as though it could pierce the heavens and earth. A mysterious calamity descended with lightning speed, and in a short night, the Long family was almost destroyed. The first batch of experts from Long family who had merged with their dragon spirit blood all disappeared without a trace. Ever since the calamity, when the Long family fell into a trough that had been in for millions of years, the blood vein S in the bodies of the Long family disciples became thinner and thinner, and the number of dragons that transformed into dragons soared and became fewer and fewer. However, there had never been a disciple with 0 dragon blood activation. Even if the dragon spirit blood on his body were to be removed and absorbed, it was impossible for it to be negative activation to dragon blood. Supreme God had too great of an impact on the Sky Martial Continent. He had previously researched it, and he had felt it strange when he found out that the dragon blood activation in Long Fei's body was 0. Just now, he had clearly felt that Long Fei's sea of consciousness had the pressure of a dragon. Otherwise, how could a spiritual Level 6 cultivator like him withstand the pressure from the golden immortal rank elders? It was absolutely impossible. This brat had been concealing himself all along. Supreme God's heart tensed up. For the rise of the Long family? Or did he not know what was hidden behind the negative activation to dragon blood himself? Suddenly, Supreme God suddenly felt that Long Fei was very deep. His deep eyes were hidden in a dense fog. Even he could not see through it. For the first time in his life, he could not see through a single person. And it was even someone from the spiritual level. The clan elder spat out a mouthful of blood. He was even more enraged. His figure moved, ignoring everything else as he rushed towards Xiang Longfei. "Brat, give me your life." Long Fei sneered. "Are you in a hurry to jump into a wall?" Qiu Wandao moved slightly, blocking in front of Long Fei, and mocked. "Is this the character and behavior of a Tong Tian Fairy Hall elder?" Humph! Many of the elders looked displeased. At this moment, Supreme God's voice sunk as he shouted lightly, "Enough!" His voice was filled with authority, and in an instant, he had completely suppressed that furious elder. Qiu Wandao's body also trembled. His internal organs seemed to be tumbling about, as he exclaimed in his heart, "A single voice was enough to cause such a powerful pressure. What terrifying stage is this Supreme God at?" Too terrifying. Long Fei also felt it. He finally understood why the Yin Huang ancestor said that no matter how much power they had, they would still not be his match. This Supreme God was simply an invincible, abnormal boss. The Supreme God said slightly, "Zhang Tianai, first tell me about the exam candidates' rebellion. How exactly did this happen? Give me a detailed explanation." During the time he was asking, Supreme God had been looking at Long Fei. He wanted to see through Long Fei, but he just couldn't. Zhang Tianai narrated in detail, and finally said, "Supreme God, as the principal, I have to take responsibility for the examinees' uprising this time. But as for the reason, I have to bear all the punishments. However, I still have to say it. The matters concerning the God Emperor Academy's assessment should be handled by the God Emperor Academy himself, and it cannot be managed by anyone who doesn't understand the God Emperor Academy at all. This time, such a strong uprising will greatly affect the God Emperor Academy, the Heavenly Hall of Immortals, and the Demon Slayer that you are looking for." Just as he finished speaking, some of the clan elders shouted, "Do you want me to explain to them? Zhang Tianai, do you have water in your head? Do you know what you were saying? Someone like you can become a principal? You want us to account for the mortal examinees? Are you retarded? How high and mighty was the Heavenly Hall of Immortals? Was he going to explain this to some lowly examinee that was like an ant? This was an insult to the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals. In this world where the strong were respected, how could the strong account to the weak? The elders were all displeased. One of the very important reasons was that it was related to the sky separating clan and Pansheng, as Pansheng was the #1 demon slayer. According to what Zhang Tianai said, it should be the responsibility of the Pan clan. Being mocked and scolded, Zhang Tianai did not refute and silently stood there without making a sound. Supreme God did not immediately indicate anything. Instead, he looked at Long Fei and asked, "Long Fei, you are one of the examinees. It seems like the Pan clan is also targeting you." Long Fei was startled. She did not expect the Supreme God to ask him this. He looked at Supreme God and asked, "What do you want to hear?" Supreme God said, "Your heartfelt words." Long Fei said, "After killing Pan Hu, All of the disciples of Sky Separating Clan will return to their true forms and undergo the assessment again. As soon as his voice faded, an elder jumped out, pointed at Long Fei's nose, and scolded him. "Brat, who do you think you are? Do you know what you're talking about? You take yourself too seriously. Who do you think you are?" All of them seemed to be infuriated. The Sky Separating Clan was an ancient clan of the Sky Martial Continent, and now that Pan Sheng was the #1 demon slayer, coupled with the fact that the Western demon flame was getting stronger and stronger, they had to rely on the Sky Separating Clan. If they killed Pan Hu now, wouldn't that mean that the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals and the Pan family were going to break up? What if Pan Sheng left the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals? Who will bear the consequences? Long Fei picked his ears, and, as he listened, he became a little impatient. He looked at Supreme God and said, "This is the truth. This is the truth that you want." "I'm lying. Do you want to hear it?" With an official promotion, he directly raised Pan Hu to the principal of the God Emperor Academy. The disciples of the Pan clan all became senior disciples, receiving the same treatment as the elders of the God Emperor Academy. "Is that okay?" As soon as he finished speaking, the elders quieted down. Many of them even nodded their heads in agreement. Only a few elders shouted, "Nonsense!" The space between Supreme God's brows furrowed slightly, but he did not answer. Instead, he looked at Long Fei and asked, "One more thing. The holy token question of God on Pan whose body was lost, is it in your hands?" As soon as he finished, equals half carat float hashtag life carat Supreme God's eyes flashed with a bright light. This ray of light was staring at Long Fei as if he was testing a lie. As Long Fei's heart was beating, he would notice any change in the expression in the light. The corner of Long Fei's mouth lifted slightly and laughed. "If I say I'm not here, would you believe me?" The Supreme God said straightforwardly, "I don't believe it." Second, 8_8419/2357052. "I don't believe it. I don't believe it." When Supreme God's voice fell, all the elders in the hall looked at Xiang Longfei in unison. Stealing holy token question of God, this was not child's play. That's a felony. Right now, they only knew that the holy token question of God on Pan, whose body had disappeared, and they didn't know that the holy token question of God on the Star Spirit Summoner's body had also disappeared. If he knew, he would be even more shocked. Long Fei was not afraid. He was not even the least bit flustered as he said softly, "If you don't believe me, then there's nothing you can do because you have no proof that I took it." The Supreme God smiled and said, "Is it evidence?" A cold light flashed in his eyes. Long Fei remained calm and collected. His expression did not change at all, and even his gaze did not move at all. However, his heart was tight. Star Spirit Messenger could not sense the fusion of giant demons. So how could the Supreme God have sensed it? Long Fei was not confident. However, Supreme God's gaze had only detected it slightly, but he too did not sense the strength of the holy token question of God on Long Fei's body. Furthermore, he was clear, who would be foolish enough to bring a holy token question of God with them, and even bring him to the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals? The Supreme God smiled and said, "That's right. I do not have any evidence." Long Fei heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. He could not see through the expression in Supreme God's eyes. What was he trying to do? "What do you want from me?" Long Fei also could not see through them. However, his instincts told him that Supreme God was not simple. The elders in the hall started discussing and said, "Supreme God, the holy token question of Goddess are no trifling matter. We can't let you off even if you mistakenly kill them." "You're right. The holy token question of God represents the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals. If someone were to use this order badge to trick us, wouldn't that damage the reputation of our Tong Tian Hall of Immortals? These are all small matters. The holy token question of God have a very profound strength. If the demon race or those huge monsters get their hands on them, the consequences would be unimaginable. They must be strictly investigated." Just as they had said, The matter of holy token question of God S was not something to be underestimated. These tokens were created by the first supreme God, and each one of them contained a great amount of power that could not be underestimated. If the giant demon got his hands on it, it would be a great hidden danger. This was something that Supreme God was well aware of in his heart. However, just as Long Fei said, he had no evidence. Moreover, he felt that Long Fei was hiding many secrets, especially regarding the matter of dragon suppression. In a secret history, he had seen a certain connection between the Long family and the dragon race that had disappeared, a very close connection. Would Long Fei hide the secrets of the dragon clan? Dragon race, an outsider from the Tianwu continent. They came from another plane, a higher plane, and they were bringing an endless amount of treasures. Countless holy artifacts entered the sky martial continent. There were even secret techniques to live forever. It was a divine ability comparable to the power of the heavens. Whoever could find the dragon domain would be able to obtain everything in the legends. For any warrior, especially someone like the supreme god who stood at the peak of the martial way, the secret treasures of the dragon race was a huge temptation. It was already difficult for them to break through, much less ascend. In just a few hundred years, he didn't want to wait for his lifespan to run out and turn into a pile of dirt. He wanted to break through the shackles and obtain a longer lifespan. The secret treasure of the dragon race might be his only way out. He saw that little bit of hope on Long Fei's body. As long as there was a sliver of hope, Supreme God would not let it go. Thus, the Supreme God smiled faintly and said, "Long Fei, I can make you the second demon slayer." The conversation suddenly changed. He was spinning too quickly, causing all the elders in the hall to be unable to react. Long Fei was the same. His mind was shaken, and he did not know how to react. He thought to himself, "What is this guy trying to do?" Qiu Wandao and Zhang Tianya's faces changed as well. Demon Slayer? This identity is not ordinary. Supreme God's mind was spinning. Long Fei's mind was also flying. No matter what you want to do to me, I don't care about my identity as a demon slayer, but I need a lot of holy token question of God. And then Long Fei revealed an excited smile and said, "Many thanks, Supreme God. So, I'm the second demon slayer?" At this time, the Supreme God was stunned. He did not expect Long Fei's quick answer, and said, "That's right. As long as you nod your head, you will be the second demon slayer, and will enjoy the treatment of a heavenly fairy hall elder level 1. Agreed. Of course. Long Fei immediately nodded and said, "Of course I will agree to such a good thing. I'm not an idiot." Long Fei said, "Supreme God, now that I am a demon slayer, should I reward a holy token question of God as well?" The Supreme God smiled slightly and said, "The number of holy token question of God are very few. There aren't any extra holy token question of God present right now, so I am powerless to help with this matter." Long Fei smiled faintly and said, "No, forget it then. It doesn't matter, since the holy token question of God are not useful to me anyways." While they were talking, Long Fei looked at an elder and said, "I am now the second demon slayer. Don't you want to congratulate me?" It was too fast. Suddenly, they became demon slayer. They didn't have enough time to react and were dominated by Long Fei just like that. Long Fei went forward and held onto an elder's hand and said, "Congratulations to me." The elder didn't know what to say, so he could only say awkwardly, "Congratulations, congratulations." Long Fei's idea moved. Nothing. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for stealing holy token question of God. Giant demon catch. Long Fei practically did not stop at all and instantly gave the stolen holy token question of God to the gravity troll. Then he shook another elder's hand. "Congratulations to me. In the future, we will be comrades in arms on the same front. We will join together to resist the giant demon invasion." Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for stealing holy token question of God. Giant demon. All the elders of the entire Heavenly Hall of Immortals had come into contact with Long Fei. Furthermore, Long Fei did not hold back his attacks in the slightest. It was unknown whether it was due to his good luck or his handsome appearance, but the success rate was extremely high. 6 holy token question of goddess, 10 immortal crystals. There are also a few good immortal weapons, a few immortal pills. Equals half carat float, hashtag life carat. It could be said that all of these elders have been taken in by Long Fei. Start fusing with 2. Now, there are 6, so there's a total of 8. In other words, there's still 2 holy token question of God left to remove all the chains on their bodies. Long Fei became excited. His gaze turned to the supreme God and thought in his heart, wealth is sought from danger. Supreme God, do you want to congratulate me? Long Fei looked at the high and mighty supreme God, his eyes blazing with passion and his heart starting to grow excited. This guy might even be able to steal a great holy artifact out. Third, 8_8419/2357053. His hands were empty. His hands were empty. He returned empty-handed with a full load. Long Fei did not let go of any of these opportunities, and all of the clan elders thought highly of themselves and did not put Long Fei in their eyes, so they did not try to defend themselves. The most important point, the holy token question of God's business was critical, even more so than their lives. If they lost it, they would definitely not dare to say it out loud. He could only suffer in silence. Mute people would often suffer unspeakably. Of course, that was a story for the future. At present, they did not discover that they had been stolen. Long Fei looked at the Supreme God on the stage and said, Supreme God, do you want to congratulate me? Supreme God smiled faintly and said, I don't need it. You really don't need to use it? Long Fei said again. Supreme God said, no need. It's enough to have this many elders to congratulate you. Now, you are the second demon slayer in Tong Tian Hall of Immortals. As soon as he finished, Long Fei interrupted, sorry, I just thought about it. I'm still not qualified to become a demon slayer. First, I didn't kill the giant demon. Second, my Long family has enmity with the sky-separating clan. It is very easy for us to get into conflict. 3, I don't want to become a demon slayer myself. But don't worry, as long as it is something that threatens the fate of Sky Marshal Continent, I will definitely not sit idly by and do nothing. Now that he had obtained what he wanted, what was he supposed to do? Withdraw. Long Fei's face turned as pale as if he was flipping a book. One page, one face, he really couldn't react at all. The few elders were immediately angered and said, Long Fei, you better not fail to appreciate my kindness. Supreme God breaking the rules to promote you is the blessing of 8 lifetimes. Don't fail to appreciate my kindness. Supreme God, it's impossible for such a person to become a demon slayer. Despicable and insidious. Be it the Supreme God's cultivation or character, they cannot be compared with Pan Sheng at all. What does he count as? So what if you're a Long family? Not millions of years ago. How many people in the Tianwu continent remember Long family? Besides, just the trash of his negative activation to dragon blood is probably just a bastard. He basically did not inherit the Long family's blood vein. Long Fei was too arrogant and provoked the wrath of the masses. Long Fei's mind went cold and thought to himself, Giant demon, how much is there left? The gravity troll said lightly, I've already broken through 700 chains. Continue. Speed up. Long Fei urged. Long Fei looked at Supreme God and said, Supreme God, I have said what I should say. Since many of the elders do not agree, then I should not be this demon slayer anymore. Old Xiao, let's go. He was about to leave immediately. The holy token question of God were all gone, yet they were still lying on the ground waiting for their deaths. Xiao Wandao's brain could be considered to be working, but he was completely unable to keep up with Long Fei's tempo, and he said, Oh, finished. The two of them walked out of the hall. An elder shouted loudly, Kid, are we letting you go? Long Fei stopped and said, What's wrong? You still want me to stay for dinner? Humph, you dare to reject the Supreme God? I don't care if you're a Long family or some random dog. You want to leave after being arrogant? Then you can't. The clan elder's body released a strong chi, blocking Long Fei's escape route one after another. It was also at this time. A star spirit messenger frowned. He anxiously rushed into the Hall of Immortals and directly knelt down and said, "Supreme God, the holy token question of God on me is also gone." Supreme God frowned. He stared straight at Long Fei, who was at the entrance of the Hall of Immortals. Long Fei revealed a foolish look and completely ignored him. Xiao Wandao's heart sank. Another holy token question of God was lost. Zhang Tianai felt unwell in his heart. What in the world is going on? What is going on? At this moment, the faces of a few elders sunk slightly, because after they had a look at their own bodies, the holy token question of Goddess on their bodies disappeared as well. His facial expression changed drastically. But no one brought it up first. They wanted to see how Supreme God would deal with this star spirit messenger. Losing holy token question of God meant being beheaded. Star spirit messenger kneeled on the ground and trembled, then said, "Supreme God, I really don't know how I lost them. All along the way, only Long Fei and the other two were by my side. They were definitely stolen by that dog, Long Fei." Long Fei became furious and shouted, "Don't speak lies. Did I steal it? Did you see me steal it? I was almost killed by you, and you still dare to say that I stole it?" Naturally, he wouldn't admit it. Star Spirit Messenger asked, "Who else could it be if not you? You were the one who stole Pan, whose holy token question of God. You despicable villain." At this time, the few elders immediately shouted, "We can't let him go." Right. Don't even think about leaving this place until things are clear. They were worried as well as afraid. Their holy token question of God had also disappeared. This is deadly. It was also at this time. Supreme God's figure blurred and then landed. In the main hall, a head flew into the air. Not even a drop of blood flowed out of the wound. A stream of power from the wound stopped the blood from flowing out of the seal, leaving not a single drop of blood. Supreme God frowned and bellowed, "Those who lose holy token question of God die." The elders who had their medallions stolen immediately shrunk, their hearts half dead from fear. Supreme God normally didn't look like he had any temper, but once it exploded, even the gods and ghosts would be afraid of him. If they were to reveal the matter of him losing his medallion, they would most likely end up in the same situation. Long Fei simply wasn't able to see clearly how the Supreme God had attacked, nor did he have the ability to sense anything. He was incomparably shocked in his heart. What a powerful strength. Supreme God looked at Long Fei and said, "Since you became a demon slayer for no reason, I won't force you. As for the matter of the God Emperor Academy examinees rebelling, I'll do as you say. Zhang Tianai, you will personally supervise this matter. As for the rest of the exams, you will become invigilator." Zhang Tianai took a step forward. "Understood." An elder said, "Supreme God, Pan, who is Pan Sheng's blood uncle, if we kill him." Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Supreme God's voice suddenly became gloomy, and he suddenly shouted, "Haven't I explained it clearly enough?" All the elders in the hall kneeled down in unison, not daring to make another sound. The anger of the Supreme Goddess was impossible to withstand. Long Fei was secretly shocked. The anger of the Supreme God was directed at him. The killing of the Star Spirit Messenger was also aimed at him. Long Fei even had a feeling that the Supreme God was sure that the holy token question of God was taken by him. Why didn't he make a move on himself? Long Fei couldn't understand. What does he want from me? Long Fei asked himself. There must be something that he wants, and it's extremely important. Equals half carat float, hashtag life, carat what was it? At first, Long Fei did not dare to be sure, but following Supreme God's fury, his body faintly glowed with a golden light, and his name also changed from white to yellow. Obviously, this was a sign of the boss's mutation. Fourth, In the game, the monster with the white name was a peaceful monster. If you didn't hit it, it wouldn't hit you. The yellow name was a little angry. Once it became a red name, it would initiate an attack. At the beginning, The name on top of Supreme God's head was white, but now it had turned yellow, and if the time was right, it would turn red. This was a boss mutation. At that time, he would take the initiative to attack Long Fei. At that time, it would be an earth-shattering attack. Long Fei saw it very clearly. There must be a reason why the Supreme God did not attack him. As for the reason, he could not think of it right now. One thing he could be sure of was that Supreme God would not touch him right now. Even if they knew that he had taken the holy token question of God, they would not do anything to him. If that was the case, Long Fei took a step forward to Supreme God's side and said, "Supreme God, I have a small present for you. You should like it." Long Fei took out the Gu Wuji's secret order from his bosom and handed it over. Supreme God opened the envelope and took a look at it. His brows tightened as he saw the letter burn on its own. "Send them off from Tong Tian Hall of Immortals. Zhang Ti and I continue the test. Also, pay close attention to the movements of the giant demons in the west. Train a group of elite disciples for me as soon as possible." Finished. Supreme God's figure blurred and instantly disappeared. Inside the hall, the elders got up from the ground with pale faces. Everyone was wondering what exactly was written on that letter. Long Fei thought in his heart, "Senior E, I hope I can help you." Boom! At the edge of Outer Space Palace. This was the rear of the Heavenly, which was also the forbidden area of the Outer Space Palace. This was the Grand Elder's training forbidden area. Disciple has something important to report. Outside the forbidden grounds, Supreme God knelt on the ground. The gate to the forbidden area opened, and an ancient voice came out. "Come in." Supreme God walked in respectfully and looked at a huge array. There was an old man in white robes within the array. The old man looked like a saint who had entered the immortal realm. "Greetings, Master." Supreme God kneeled on the ground once again. The white-haired elder's eyes opened wide. "What is it?" Supreme God said. "Master, someone from Long family has entered the immortal domain." The white-haired old man said slightly, "I already know about this. I sensed it when his dragon Salyer power exploded. Level 3 dragon Salyer. It has no power at all. The blood vein does not have the slightest bit of dragon god power. To the powerhouses who disappeared from the Long family, it is just like a useless ant. Has Long family already fallen to such a state?" The old man's eyes were filled with disdain. Supreme God said lightly, "Master, I have met him in the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals, but he was calm and steady at the age of 20. His cultivation is only at the spiritual levy 6, but he is able to withstand the might of the golden immortal rank elder's attack, and is also heavily injuring his opponent. I can sense the power of the Tao Dragon's pressure in his body. Master, I feel that there's some kind of secret behind his back, which might be related to the dragon domain that disappeared," Supreme God slowly said. At this moment, when the white-haired old man heard about the dragon suppression and the vanished dragon's domain, his eyes flashed with a sharp light. "Are you saying that that kid can find the dragon's domain and the dragon's clan?" The disappearance of a dragon race was the biggest mystery of the Qianwu continent. The Long family's calamity was also a mystery. These two things had to be related. The old man did not care. What he cared about was the powerful treasures the dragon race had brought from the other realms, the powerful holy artifact S, and the immortal's secret technique. It was a divine ability comparable to the heavens. This was what he wanted. The dragon blood activation in his body is 0, but it can release the pressure of a dragon. Adding that to the dragon god Saber Chi in the dragon Salyer. If he was not a disciple of the Long family, he would not be able to use the dragon god Saber Chi. If he was not a person selected by the dragon clan, the dragon god Saber Chi and dragon's pressure cannot be used by him. Master, although we haven't verified it yet, I'm sure he's also looking for the dragon race and the dragon domain. Just like Long Zhanting in the past. The white-haired old man frowned and said, "Long Zhanting, back then we were too anxious. Otherwise, we would have already obtained the secret treasures of the dragon clan." Supreme God said, "It's that bastard Long Zhanting who doesn't know how to appreciate favors." The white-haired old man said, "Let's not talk about this anymore. Since you are certain that this boy is looking for the dragon domain, then keep an eye on him. The secret treasure of the dragon race is my hope for ascension. You must find it for me." Supreme God immediately said, "This disciple will definitely do his best." The white-haired elder said, "Go." Supreme God got up and wanted to leave, but he turned around and said, "Master, Gu Wuji has ordered the star spirit messenger to take action on his own accord. Only I know about this matter right now." He did not speak of the matter of Long Fei giving him a secret order, because the less people know, the better. The white-haired elder let out a long breath and said, "This child Limitless is always in a hurry to gain benefits. He always wants to become the supreme god, but his talent cannot be broken through." This was the secret of the heavenly hall of immortals. The white-haired old man was Gu Wuji's grandfather. Only the supreme god knew about this. The white-haired elder said, "Then let's forget about this matter." Supreme God immediately replied, "Disciple understands." After the supreme god had retreated, the white-haired old man looked towards the sky and said excitedly, "Dragon Race's secret treasure. I will definitely get you. I definitely will. This is my last hope." His lifespan was almost up. If he couldn't break through, he would die of old age. On the way back to the God Emperor Academy, Xiao Wandao could not understand and asked, "Why would the Supreme God let us leave?" He could also feel the anger that erupted from the Supreme God. Long Fei looked at Xiao Wandao and said, "Old Xiao, is there something you're hiding from me?" Xiao Wandao stared blankly for a moment and said, "What have I hidden from you?" "Nope." Zhang Ti and I said, "Both of you, stop suspecting each other. Senior brother, from today onwards, you will not be allowed to interfere with God Emperor Academy's matters. If you disturb me again, I will drive you out of God Emperor Academy." Long Fei, if you pass the examination, then you are a student of the God Emperor Academy. If you fail, then return to your South Horizon region and never come to the immortal domain again. There's more. You are not allowed to divulge anything that has happened in the Heavenly Hall of Immortals today. Zhang Ti and I was afraid of these two madmen. Supreme God was furious. The consequences were unimaginable. Long Fei looked up at the Heavenly Hall of Immortals and thought to himself, "The next time I come, I'll blow up all the bosses here. The Supreme God boss is waiting for brother." This mutated boss would definitely explode, and Long Fei wanted to know what exactly was hidden in the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals. Right? There's something important going on. Long Fei suddenly looked at Xiao Wandao. Zhang Ti and I asked, "What is it?" Long Fei laughed. "Old Xiao, it seems that I have passed the God Emperor Academy's examination. You have to be my follower, right?" 8 black lines hung from Xiao Wandao's forehead, making him unable to say a single word. In the distance, at the peak of an enormous mountain, a young girl stood at the edge of the cliff, quietly looking in the direction of the Outer Space Palace. Watching Long Fei leave the Outer Space Palace, the corner of her mouth slightly raised. "Interesting, I want to enter the God Emperor Academy too." The 5th chapter was sent over. I specially informed everyone that there would be a lot of things happening tomorrow at the little girl's full moon. If the updates are not accurate, or if there is less, don't worry. Everyone will be able to make up for it by the end of the ocean. Thank you for your support. 8_8419/2357055. At the examination hall at the foot of God Emperor Academy. At the examination hall at the foot of God Emperor Academy. The crowd was in an uproar. Are we really going to kill him? That's impossible. He's an elder of the sky separating clan. I heard he's even Pan Sheng's blood uncle. Do you really want to kill him? The announcement said that it was written very clearly. It said that he violated the law by favoring others for his own good and must be severely punished. Didn't they say that he lost his holy token question of God? Why isn't it written in the announcement? Who knows? He probably came back. When Zhang Ti and I returned to the God Emperor Academy, he immediately spread the news of the students' violent punishment, but the announcement did not mention anything about the holy token question of God. The holy token question of God, losing, would harm the reputation of the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals. This kind of thing naturally could not be spread out. The effect was not good. The key thing was that the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals did not want to escalate this matter. Bring him up here. Zhang Tianai shouted loudly. He personally executed the punishment. The few elders around him turned ashen. Headmaster, do you really want to kill him? He is the Pan clan elder. If we kill him, Sky's separating clan will definitely not let this matter rest. How about not waiting for him to finish? Zhang Tianai slightly said, this is what the higher-ups said. Supreme God has spoken. Do you dare to disobey? He would use the heavenly hall of Immortals S to crush all the elders. The faces of those elders darkened. They didn't dare to make a sound. Although the Sky's separating clan was strong and another demon slayer had appeared, it was not enough to contend with the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals. Pan Hu said angrily in an aggressive manner, Zhang Tianai, if you dare touch a single hair on my head, the Pan clan will not let you go, and the young master will not let you go either. You better be sensible and let me go, otherwise you won't be able to bear the consequences. Very arrogant. At this point, he was still not afraid, because he thought that no one would dare to touch him because he was a member of the Pan clan and Pan Sheng's blood uncle. Who would dare to touch him? Zhang Tianai slightly said, Pan Hu, the reason why you are causing today's chaos was because of you. This is the first time in the history of God Emperor Academy, so the faults you have committed must be borne by you. Pan Hu bellowed, Zhang Tianai, you dare? Today's matter was obviously caused by that bastard Long family. Are you blind? It was this kid who instigated it. If I didn't suppress it, the outcome would be even worse than it is now. Long Fei stood at the side and watched as Pan Hu was pressed onto the stage. He let out a cold laugh and said, Pan Hu raged and roared, Little bastard, all of this is because of you. Don't worry, the entire Pan family will definitely not let you off. Even the young master will not let you off. Long Fei shrugged his shoulders and said, If you have the guts, come at me. I've never been afraid of anyone in my life. Never been afraid. So what if it was Pan Sheng? Moreover, most importantly, Gravity Troll had already broken through the 800 shackles. His strength could be said to be extremely strong. With such a bodyguard, even warriors below the Yuan Xian realm would not need to worry. One at a time, a pair of them would kill each other. Zhang Tianai glared at Long Fei. He felt that Long Fei was too young to be arrogant. No matter who it was, they would all be so arrogant in front of him. And then, Zhang Tianai shouted out, Execute the punishment. Plop! Zhang Tianai was smashed to the ground and knelt down. At this time, he finally became afraid and shouted, Zhang Tianai, you can't kill me. I am the blood uncle of the #1 demon slayer and an elder of the Pan family. You can't kill me. You can't kill me. I want to see the elder of the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals. I want to... Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Zhang Tianai said in a cold voice, Kill. Crack. The executioner's blade cut through the air and slashed down. Pop! Pan Hu screamed out, his eyes flipped and a head flew down, fresh blood spurting out onto the ground. Zhang Tianai stepped forward and said, This assessment is not fair. I would like to represent God Emperor Academy to apologize to everyone. Other than Pan Hu being punished, all of Sky Separating Clan's disciples' assessment results are invalid. If you fail to pass the examination, you are not allowed to enter the God Emperor Academy. Tomorrow, the third round of the examination will begin. Zhang Tianai slowly said he had to re-establish the notarial nature of the God Emperor Academy. After killing Pan Hu, every single examinee in the courtyard was stunned. They never thought that they would actually kill Pan Hu, and their blood boiled, because God Emperor Academy was truly different. Since the 100 disciples of Sky Separating Clan had been cancelled, they were even more excited. God Emperor Academy is just not the same. This is the real God Emperor Academy. As expected of the #1 academy in the Tianwu continent, they're truly extraordinary. Not this year. Next year I will definitely enter the God Emperor Academy. Every disciple was in an uproar. This was because Zhang Tianya's upright and unscrupulous action made their hearts burn. Zhang Tianyi was different from Xiao Wandao. He was an expert in management, knew how to salvage the reputation of God Emperor Academy. He also knew what these examinees wanted, and he could make these examinees admire him even more if he were to kill Pan Hu. The punishment given to Pan clan disciples made them even more excited. The God Emperor Academy had an unshakable place in their hearts. However, Zhang Tianyi had to thank someone in his heart, Long Fei. It was because Long Fei had proposed to the Supreme God that he kill Pan Hu and abolish the sky separating clans examination results. If it was him, he definitely wouldn't dare to say such words. Right now, the Pan clan was different. Killing an elder from the Pan clan was an extraordinary matter. The key point was Pan Sheng was just the vanguard. There were even more powerful forces lurking in the shadows. Long Fei, kid, you're really different. Zhang Tianyi looked at Long Fei, who was in the middle of the crowd, and his heart secretly tensed up. Long family? The Pan family? The heavenly hall of immortals? And it's the Song family from the Dark Domain. It's even those reclusive, ancient family in the Tianwu continent. I'm afraid all of them are ready to make a move now. Zhang Tianyi's heart also started to boil. With the opening of the Great Era, the Sky Martial continent will definitely cause a great storm. Who can control the floating? Millions of years ago, the Long family ruled once. What about now? Long Fei, can you do it by yourself? Zhang Tianyi became a little excited as he looked up into the sky and muttered, "It's so good to be young. If I were a few dozen years younger, I would have definitely flipped the world upside down in this storm." At this moment, Xiao Wandao had walked up to him at some point in time, stood by his side, and said, "Junior brother, also boiling, right?" Zhang Tianyi looked at Xiao Wandao with a sinister look in his eyes and said slightly, "Senior brother, what exactly is your relationship with the Long family? Why did you have to go all out to protect this brat?" Xiao Wandao smiled slightly and did not answer, but said instead, "Junior brother, who can rule the universe in this storm? I bet on this kid." In the backyard of the Fengyuan Merchant Union. In the backyard of the Fengyuan Merchant Union, the business was as bleak as ever. Moreover, today was an assessment for Long Fei and the others, but also an even harsher choice for him. The Pan family and the Nine Business Union had joined hands. Nine Business Union was on the verge of death in the previous auction, and he could not hold on much longer, but now they were alive again, because the Pan family had allied them. The Nine Business Union had all hung the name of the Pan Family Merchant Union. The Nine Business Union, who originally had no business, now had business again and was even more powerful than before. On the other hand, the Fengyuan Merchant Union had become incomparably cold and cheerless. Pan Sheng's words were still affecting the people within the God Emperor city. In the backyard, a faint smile hung on Fu Shishan's face as he asked, "How is today's assessment going?" Mantal Yuo said, "We have all passed. I just don't know if Xiao Ying's grade will pass or not." It took her 5 minutes too long. Xiao Ying chuckled and said, "Miss, don't worry about me. If I don't go through with it, I will stay here and help Sister Yinshan manage her business. Hee hee." She had always been a cheerful girl and would not be depressed by a loss. Long Fei looked at Fu Shishan and asked, "Sis, is business still as bad as usual?" Fu Shishan laughed and said, "Business is like this. There are times when things are good, but there are also times when things are bad. You don't have to worry. I will think of a way to solve this." She did not mention the matter of the Pan clan allying with the Nine Business Union. Long Fei had already helped him a lot, and even gave him 5 immortal crystals. Other than that, there was one more thing that Long Fei did not know. The Pan Family Merchant Union had copied the Long Yang pill that Long Fei refined. Also, she had received news that the Pan clan was truly researching the alloy armor S and impressionable heavens made by Long Fei. If these two things were to be copied out again, it was likely the Fengyuan Merchant Union was about to be pushed out of God Emperor City. When the Pan clan had advanced into the God Emperor City, they had already grasped everything about the Fengyuan Merchant Union. They were well prepared this time. Just as Pan Sheng had said, if anyone dared to have anything to do with Long Fei, they would be squashed to death. Fatty Chun bit down on his chicken leg and said, "Big sister, let me advertise for you tomorrow and show some people to support you. I really don't know what they are thinking. Who can endure such delicious food?" Long Fei said, "Sis, I'm not too clear about the matters regarding the business. If you need any help, feel free to tell me." While they were talking, Long Fei took out the immortal crystals he got from the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals from his bosom. "I still have 10 immortal crystals. Take them first." Everyone in the courtyard was dumbfounded. The flowing heaven spirit, the smoke thunder, and the hidden elder phone were all stunned. One immortal crystal was 100,000 fairy stones. 10 immortal crystals was equivalent to 1,000,000 fairy stones. What kind of concept was that? A tycoon. Fu Shishan said in shock. "Where did you get so many immortal crystals? You gave 5 in the morning and 10 in the evening. What do you want? You want to support me?" She was very touched. However, the immortal crystal contained a very strong power. To any martial artist, it was an extremely valuable resource for their cultivation. She could not create trouble for Long Fei. Long Fei laughed. "Sis, I'll eat yours and use yours. Obviously, you're the one who is supporting me. I'm just paying the fees. Continue to support me in the future." Finished. Long Fei didn't care that much as he directly stuffed 10 immortal crystals into Fu Shishan's hands and said, "Sis, you don't have to be so courteous to me." That was probably all he could do. However, didn't care about 10 immortal crystals, but someone's heart ached. Yan Huang ancestor was depressed. "Brat, I finally know what liver pain is now. It's liver pain now, and it's so painful that it's trembling. Those are 10 immortal crystals. Do you know what rank I can raise the Yin soldiers in the Yellow Springs summoning seal to? You could have broken through at least the 3rd level, but you gave it to someone without even blinking your eyes." Even though his heart ached, the royal elder didn't stop him. Long Fei said in his heart, "Let alone 10, even if it's 100 or 1,000, as long as she wants it, I will do my best to get it for her. My grandfather's life is more important than 10,000 immortal crystals. She was the one who saved my grandfather. I, Long Fei, will remember this favor and will never forget it." 3 continued life pill S gave him time to go to the great desolate mountain ranges to find the dragon blood of ice and fire and to save his grandfather's life. If not for Fu Shishan, his grandfather would no longer be living in this world. Other than that, Fu Shishan had always been helping him, but even after he had entered the God Emperor's city, he still helped him without a care. He is a grateful man. "You're good to me, and I'll be better to you." Long Fei was just like that. Fu Shishan was extremely grateful. She really needed money now. She needed money to circulate and save the whole Fengyuan Merchant Union. With these 15 immortal crystals, it was like eating a pill to calm her heart. "I will definitely make the Fengyuan Merchant Union rise again." Fu Shishan looked at Long Fei and teased. "From today onwards, Big Sis is your person." "That's not right. Don't think of me as a human. I don't care what you do." Fu Shishan's face was filled with enticement. Her alluring eyes could make one go crazy. She did not know how to repay Long Fei. If Long Fei nodded, she would really offer her life. Her body was perhaps the only thing that she could give to Long Fei. Long Fei's face reddened and said, "Sis, don't be like this. Io, you're being shy." Fu Shishan laughed and said, "All right, Big Sis will not tease you anymore. You guys eat first. I will go to the kitchen and add 2 more dishes." Long Fei said, "Sis, don't trouble yourself. It's enough to eat." Fu Shishan walked out and said, "Anyway, they have nothing to do. Let them cook a few more dishes." She did not look back. She did not dare to, because at this moment, tears were streaming down her face. In another place, the Pan clan's secret stronghold. "What did you say? Pan who was killed? Who would have the guts to do so?" In the hall, an old man in his 50s, who was glaring at him, was sitting on a high seat. The aura around him was extremely violent, causing the space around him to distort. Pan Ju replied, Great Elder, it's God Emperor Academy's principal, Zong Tianai. However, I received news from the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals. The culprit behind this was that brat, Long family. He was the one who proposed to punish Elder Pan Hu. Great clan elder, this Long family brat is too arrogant. Pan Zhan squinted his eyes and asked coldly, "Is that the brat called Long Fei?" Zhang Ju said, "That's him." A cold glint flashed in Pan Zhan's eyes, and he said coldly, "Long Fei, right? Let's just wait for the Pan clan to explode. We'll just wait for our deaths." Chapter 28_8419/2357057. The night passed in silence. The night passed in silence. Early morning the next day, waves of shocked voices came from the God Emperor Academy's academy. Boom! Another one came out. It was too fast. This speed is too fast. Today's event is being conducted under the supervision of the headmaster. It's impossible for any cases of cheating to occur again. However, why are these disciples completely different from yesterday's cases? He's 100 disciples of the sky, separating clan anyway. The 100 disciples of the sky, separating clan were all changed. None of them was the same as yesterday. Most importantly, their cultivation, strength, and talent were all several levels above the disciples from yesterday. It's so lively. What happened? Chen Tianfei jumped around in place a few times, wanting to see what exactly was happening within the crowd. At this time, a disciple at the side spoke out. The 100 disciples of Sky, separating clan, are truly taking the examination. Huh. Fatty Chin was stunned. So early? Then what are their results? The disciple replied, just like yesterday, the only difference is that the second stage is a bit different. Same as yesterday? Chen Tianfei was shocked and said, "That's impossible, right? Yesterday, their results were in the top 100. It's impossible for them with their strength." The person said, "Today's group is different from yesterday's group." Walala, walala. The crowd at the front exploded with noise. 2 seconds. Breaking the record. When his voice fell, all the disciples in the examination hall were stunned. In the beginning, there were still many who mocked Sky, separating clan, for his ability to cheat, but no one dared to say so now. It had completely changed. Compared to the previous day's disciples, today's Pan Clan disciples were much more powerful. Zong Tianai was also shocked. This is the true strength of the Pan family? 100 disciples were changed overnight, and whether it was in terms of talent or cultivation level, they were all above those disciples from yesterday. These people have a strong killing intent on them. Pan Sure, 3 seconds. Walala. Another wave of shocked voices rang out. At this time, with the fatty leading the way, Long Fei and the others also squeezed to the front. The moment Long Fei appeared, several tens of cold gazes stared at him. One of the Pan Clan disciples directly walked to Long Fei's side and stared at him coldly. "You're called Long Fei?" Long Fei looked at him and said, "Yes." That person sneered and said, "It's good that you admit to it. After this, you will suffer the crushing pressure from my Pan Clan. You can enjoy it slowly." At this time, the statistical elder shouted loudly, "Next, Pan Xian." The mouth of the person who was talking to Long Fei twitched, revealing a cold smile, and said complacently, "Long Fei, look clearly. Watch how I stomp you down." After he finished speaking, Pan Xian fiercely turned around and rushed into the demon beast space. Drip! After a second passed, the spatial exit twisted and Pan Xian walked out from the demon beast space. 1 second. The statistical elder was stunned, his brain unable to react. This was because it was too fast. The entire audience was in an uproar as they were all boiling with excitement. Yesterday, the Sky Separating Clan cheated. They hated him greatly. But today, the Sky Separating Clan was incomparably powerful, which made them admire him in their hearts. Everyone began to applaud automatically, as expected of the Sky Separating Clan. This speed has completely suppressed everyone. Yesterday, that was completely beaten up. 3 seconds and 1 second are not the same thing. It seems like the sky-separating clan is serious. Not just them. Chen Tianfei's eyes also shook and could not help but say, "It's too fast, so strong." Long Fei's mind was also slightly shaken, and she said, "He is indeed strong. No matter what level of demon beast he killed, being able to do this in a second meant that he was extremely strong." Furthermore, the reason Long Fei was able to kill the level 6 demon beast within 3 seconds was not because of his own strength, but because of the gravity troll's strength. There was no doubt that the Pan Xian in front of him was very strong. Pan Xian's face was filled with pride. He walked to Long Fei's side with a disdainful look in his eyes and coldly sneered. 3 seconds is very powerful, so weak. Seeing that Long Fei did not speak, Pan Xian slightly leaned forward and said slightly, "Kid, this is just the beginning. Just wait for the Pan family to attack you." "Ha ha, ha ha." Pan Xian laughed out loud, looked at Long Fei, then Chen Tianfei, Man Tuoyuo, and Xiao Ying laughed coldly and said, "All of you wait slowly." The Pan family retaliated. The sky-separating clan retaliated. The fact that Pan, who had been killed, and the disciples of the sky-separating clan had their scores cancelled made the sky-separating clan extremely unhappy. Now, they wanted to counterattack, wanted Long Fei to have the ability to resist completely, to use his strongest strength to madly crush Long Fei and everything around him, other than Long Fei and the others. Fu Shishan's Fengyuan Merchant Union had also suffered a crushing defeat. Pan Xian laughed proudly. "Long family? Get ready to eat shit for me." "Ha ha." Finished speaking, he turned around and left in big strides. F***CK. Fatty Chun immediately scolded, and just as he was about to go up and fight with Pan Xian, he was pulled back by Long Fei and said slightly, "You are not his opponent." Chen Tianfei said, "Boss, this guy is too arrogant." Xiaoying also said with an angry look on his face, "I can't tolerate it either." Long Fei said, "Today's sky-separating clan is a little different from yesterday's. Today, these people should be the Pan clan's elite disciples. These people had very strong cultivation bases. Their cultivation realms weren't high, but their power was solid and their bodies were filled with explosive power. Moreover, the sky-separating clan had been secluded for 1,000,000 years, so they were definitely well prepared when they appeared this time. Long Fei secretly thought in his heart, "He's much stronger than I imagined." Chen Tianfei said, "Who cares what elite disciples he is? We will still beat him up." Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "Don't worry, this is just the second round. There's still the third round. Moreover, you can't fight in the process of the assessment or you'll lose your qualifications." Chen Tianfei said anxiously, "Then why don't we just let them ride on our heads and ride on their horses forever?" Long Fei's mouth curved up and said, "Do you think that's possible?" Man Tuoyuo looked at Long Fei and asked, "Young Master Long, what plans do you have?" Long Fei said, "Ranking tournament, all of you release as much of your power as you want. The assessment today would be much stricter than yesterday. Zhang Ti and I would definitely enforce the law impartially in front of so many disciples, and he would absolutely not be biased." It was the same for Long Fei. Thus, no matter how angry they were, they couldn't make a move. The moment they did, the Pan clan would catch hold of their weakness. Baidu's search. Half afloat, all he had to do now was wait. Waiting for a chance to make a move. Newbie disciple ranking tournament. Long Fei coldly spoke in his heart. "The crazy counterattack, right? I will kill you in the cradle." Chapter 38_8419/2357058. Long Fei never submitted. Long Fei never submitted. If he was unhappy, he would kill. Today's scene was a little different. Even if he wanted to, Zhang Ti and I would not let him do it. Zhang Ti and I stood on the stage and said, "We will begin the third round of the examination. All those who pass the second round will enter the purple bamboo forest." As soon as he finished, Zhang Tianai sent a sound transmission to Long Fei and said, Long Fei, today's Pan Clan disciples are different from yesterday. Be careful yourself, and don't let them catch onto anything. The third round depends on yourself. I can't help you much. Zhang Tianai's sensing ability was not weak. He was very clear that there were a few hidden rancors in the surroundings, the experts of the Pan Clan. Long Fei's heart trembled and thought to himself, as expected, thank you for the reminder, First Dean. I will be careful. Long Fei replied. The Pan family was truly retaliating madly. Moreover, this time, their goal was to crush Long Fei into the ground and make him unable to crawl back up. If they wanted to stomp Long Fei to death, then use Long Fei's head to pay tribute to Pan, whose dead body. Purple Bamboo Forest. This was an extremely special place for the third trial. A 100-meter-long small road didn't seem to have any difference, but made countless exam candidates stop. This was because what was being tested wasn't your martial strength or speed, but your heart of martial arts. If one wasn't determined, then it would be impossible to pass here. Compared to the previous 2 stages, this was the hardest. Zhang Tianai said, all examinees who call out their names will enter the Purple Bamboo Forest one by one. Remember, do not think too much into it. Let's begin. Zhang Tianai glanced at the elder and nodded. Is it that simple? Isn't that too simple? Isn't it just a road? What's the difficulty? Many disciples did not think much of it, because it was just a normal path. There was no need to worry. As long as they walked over, they would be God Emperor Academy's disciples. Even if he passed the test. Chun Tianfei said in a low voice, Boss, this road is extremely difficult, even more difficult than the first 2 stages by 10 times. You must be careful. Xiaoying said, Fatty Chun, please speak clearly. Chun Tianfei replied, I don't know either. It's my first time participating in the assessment as well. I've only heard that the Purple Bamboo Forest is a place where millions of disciples are stopped in their tracks. Man Tuoyuo frowned and said, Is it that terrifying? Long Fei could not see any difference in that Tao, and said lightly, No matter what, everyone be careful. At this moment, the first examinee walked up. Let's see how I will be the first to pass. Ha ha. Then, the disciple laughed complacently and stepped inside. 1 second, he was still laughing complacently. The next second, his expression twisted into an expression of extreme pain. At the 3rd second, put on. He felt his knees and kowtowed continuously, his face pale. It was also at this time. The statistical elder faintly said, Failure. Pull him out. He was not shocked at all. After seeing too much, he felt that it was too ordinary. The surrounding examinees did not react at all. They had no idea what was going on. Why did he suddenly kneel down and suddenly fail? Zhang Tianai exhaled and said, My Tao heart is not firm. My mind is not pure. The path of the martial arts training is to defy the heavens and change fate. If you guys can even defy the will of the martial arts, how will you break through the shackles and go against the heavens? The disciple that was dragged out suddenly recovered when he left the small purple bamboo path. With a pale face, he said, Give me one more chance. Give me one more chance. I can definitely do it. Zhang Tianai shouted lightly. A failure is a failure. The world you resided in earlier failed and died. There was no second chance. The disciple's body sank, his eyes filled with regret. The surrounding disciples began discussing. What happened? It's only been 3 seconds, but why do I feel like it's been 30 years? What did he see? That disciple's expression was downcast, as if he had lost everything in his life. He slowly walked out with a lonely back. The second disciple walked forward. On the 5th step, he too knelt down. 2 elders dragged him out. 3rd place. 4th place. Over 30 disciples in a row could not even walk 100 steps. Some were insane, some were sweating like rain, and some were wailing like ghosts and howling like wolves. All of the various forms of life were displayed on this small path. The more they looked at the disciples, the more scared they became. What kind of path was this? I don't understand. Confusion. It made people panic. Next, Pan Sure. Once he said that, Pan Sure laughed coldly. He took a step forward and unlike the others after taking his first step, his speed suddenly increased, as though he was flying, and in a short moment he broke through the 100m mark. It was very sharp. Everyone was shocked. So fast. So it could be this way? What is this called? The Pan clan is indeed extraordinary. Ha ha! Too powerful. The statistical elder glanced at Zhang Tianai. He didn't say that he passed in a hurry. Zhang Tianai frowned, his eyes looking towards the darkness. He clenched his fists and nodded at the elder. The elder announced, "Pass." Pan Shi turned around and looked at the small path as he let out a disdainful sneer. "Tiska, what bullshit is this?" Zhang Tianai looked at Pan Shi. "Looks like the Pan clan elders have seen this path clearly, but is this really good? You don't even dare to examine a disciple's Tao heart." No doubt about it. The Pan family elders had already broken through this small path. Soon after, the second member of the Pan clan walked up. Just like Pan Shi, they too flew over at lightning speed, and in less than a second, they were extremely fast. Another one passed. So powerful. Sky-separating clan is truly worthy of being an ancient family. You're awesome. The crowd burst into cheers. The faces of the disciples from the Pan clan were also filled with pride. In the next few minutes, the disciples of the Pan clan moved as fast as they could. All of them instantly rushed over and passed the test. All 100 disciples of the Sky separating clan passed. It caused a huge commotion. However, Zhang Tianyi's expression was very gloomy. He sighed in his heart and did not say a word. http:// The first two tests were to test your ability to respond and to display your strength. The third test was the key. Not only could it test your heart of martial arts, it could also help you improve. All of Sky separating clan's disciples had missed it. They were proud of themselves, but they had missed a chance to improve themselves. Next, Chen Tianfei. Chapter 48_8419/2357059. That you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.